your eyes. Hope you have an alibi. Talk is cheap, you crossed the line. So this will be my last goodbye. This will be my last goodbye. Last goodbye. I'm running away from the sun and the rain. I've been sun in the sand. This will be my last goodbye. I'm done with the games. Nothing will change. The sun and the sand. This will be my last goodbye. It's brand new, don't blink. No, you don't wanna miss it now. Hey, it's brand new, don't blink. No, you don't wanna miss it now. We pulling out the stops right now. We going from the top to the ground. We pulling out the stops right now. We going from the top to the ground. We pulling out the stops right now. We going from the top to the ground. It's brand new, don't blink. No, you don't wanna miss it now. Hey, it's brand new, don't blink. No, you don't wanna miss it now. We got it all right here. It's time to shine, time to kick it into gear. Hey, it's brand new, don't blink. No, you don't wanna miss it now.
Always ends like this. When I think I'm healing, if I had one wish, could you save me from my feelings? Chemicals can't fix all these wounds that I'm concealing. I'm lost in light inside. they turn on the lights, I'll run back to you. One touch and you're getting me high, oh tell me it's true. Find me at the end of the night, I'll run back to you. Always ends like this. Taste of something stronger, dancing on my lips. Now I'm falling 10 feet under. Try to drown it out, but I'm swimming in deep water, fading in and out. I need you to hold me now, baby. Won't you give me a sign? Oh, I need you to. Just go when they turn on the lights, I'll run back to you. One touch and you're getting me high, oh tell me it's true. Find me at the end of the night, I'll run back to you. I hope you know I left your pictures on the wall. Can't let go of you now. I hope you feel from wherever you might be, nothing's real without you. On these lonely nights, I'll be holding tight to the memories, to the memory of you. Until we meet again, I'll be waiting here for you. Until we meet again, you keep me hanging on. Until we meet again, I don't want somebody new. Until we meet again, you keep me hanging on to us. To the memory of you. If I can't hold you close, I'm not letting go of the memories, of the memory of you. Swore I felt you next to me, but you're not here now. Until we meet again, I'll be waiting here for you. Until we meet again, you keep me hanging on. Until we meet again,
keeps our secrets. When we know where to go, when we see the signs. Colors drifting, in space we hide, the stars align. Time is shifting, when we ignite, the world's left behind. We're fading blue, caught up in a haze chasing view. Calling me to stay in the making you my satellite. Made it through the afterlife. In space we hide, the stars align. Time is shifting, the push and the pull, and the endless sky keeps our secrets. When we know where to go, when we see the signs. Colors drifting, when we ignite, the world's left behind. We're fading blue, caught up in a haze chasing view. Calling me to stay in the making you my satellite. Made it through the afterlife. It's calling us, it's calling us. The future is calling out for us. It's calling us, it's calling us. The future is calling out for us. See a light up ahead. Hearts are racing towards a better world. Reach out across that distance, and we can make it all together now. It's calling us, it's calling us. The future
like weightless time at night. I've been near the fire a million times, caught in between the truth and the lies. Can't hold me down for a minute longer. What doesn't kill me makes me stronger. Makes me stronger.
Welcome to MSI! Welcome to Busan! 뜨거운 환호 함성과 함께 시작하겠습니다!
렌즈 선수 화이팅! 동심!
파이팅!
KT 파이팅!
KT 롤스터 부산 갑니다.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to LCK 2025. It is the road to MSI, and it is time for round 2 after KT dispatched of DK unceremoniously after one game that felt like a game and then 2 slaughters. Is it going to happen again, Wolf?
I don't know, to be honest with you. KT's form looked really good, but I think D+ was so weak yesterday, frankly, that it's hard to judge whether it was KT's successes or mistakes from D+ that made them look so strong. But when you look back to D+ narrowly beating Nongshim, they dropped a game, so we had that tiebreaker in the first place. But the fact that Nongshim played so close to D+, then KT dismantled D+ yesterday, makes you feel like KT has kind of an edge going into this one.
They are certainly riding the roller coaster in a northward direction. As we're seeing here, they have just crept up a little bit. The roller coaster's rolling relatively well towards a potential telecom war in round 4, which would be on Saturday next week in Busan. That would be incredible. It's the blessed timeline that we were talking about on the POG state that was mentioned yesterday as well.
Or Nongshim get another top 4, and this time they earn it through a gauntlet. Remember,
Exactly.
Nongshim had that top 4 performance in LCK Cup, and everyone's like, wow, is Nongshim a top 4 team? And yes, there were questions about the format and how the bracket shook out, but this time they legitimately earn it through fighting against our 5th and 6th place teams here. Well, of course, in this case, our 5th best team. 6th was knocked out yesterday, but in this gauntlet, they earned their extra spot through the regular season. And it's really cool to me that either we get that telecom war or this time Nongshim gets another chance at maybe making top 3 here.
It would be absolutely insane, especially when so many of us, especially at the beginning of this season, were wondering whether KT would make it higher than 7th place. And that's kind of mind-blowing at this point in time. That being said, this gentleman right here, Lahens and BDD, spending a lot of time together. Lahens, are you shaking yet? I'm taking the win and heading to Busan. I don't know whether Lehens will be shaking about that. We know that this guy, it takes a lot to rattle this guy's cage.
Teammates who fought T1 in that lower bracket finals in 2023, nearly going to the first time KT's been in a finals in many, many years, half a decade. We'll see if this could lead us to a rematch of that telecom war here, but it would be BDD winning it this time around. Lehens dropping down. Very exciting to see this matchup today. And of course, the best of 5 draft battle here is one of the big concerns. Why I predicted KT 3-1. I thought if it went to 5, KT might run out of gas in terms of champion pool. I'm expecting a similar vibe today. If it goes to 5, I give Nongshim the edge. They have so many champs they can play, especially when you look at Lehens, for example, there on the bottom lane.
Yeah, I think Lehens and Kingen are certainly going to be what carries the champion pool situation. I think that there are weak links when it comes to the amount of champions that they're able to play, but I think Nongshim are eclectic enough to be able to get the normal bans out of the way and still have a fair few champs that they're happy to pick up. So I'm very interested to see whether Nongshim are going to be able to fight this one out. But I'm one of the only people, I think, that gave this one a clean sweep for 3-0. Joining Jonas Strong and Pony. And yeah, it's
not a
so
Nongshim
doomed.
in sight, man.
It is so doomed. Okay, never mind. It's 14-0 in favor of KT Rolster, and that means that the likelihood of Nongshim winning this series and winning it quickly has just gone up to about 97.65%.
The fan vote here as well, 2-1.
We know that at least 3 people voted. yeah, Digon, we agree. We absolutely agree. This is a dire situation. I'm sorry, everyone. What we're going to have to do is we're going to have to make sure that we downplay any positives towards KT just so that this broadcast can remain as unbiased as possible. Because those predictions were pretty anti-KT, I'm not going to lie.
I think that while Jiwoo has certainly stepped up and has become the force he was in his debut year, I think the rest of Nongshim has been taking weird fights. They've been a little bit on different pages in terms of the team fights and objective fights, whereas KT have looked super clean in those, and KT has been incredibly punishing. You have to look back at some of the small errors that D+ made yesterday and see how quickly that was punished by KT. Arguably, in drafts we thought D+ had a big advantage in, KT still came up on top.
Yeah, I mean, that second game with the whole, like, Ahri priority with the Pantheon, and then the Yorick, we were like, oh no, KT, we're heading to 5 games, but that wasn't the case. Players going to fist bump here. I think Nongshim are going to be a completely different story. I think DK, we were seeing the writing on the wall towards the last few weeks of the season, sort of wondering like, oh, are they going to perform? Are they once again just going to struggle? Is the mentality issue going to continue hurting them? And we saw that indeed continued to happen. The first game, an absolute heartbreaker, and it felt like they just weren't in it from that point onwards. I think Nongshim's mental is so powerful, Wolf.
Yeah, and they have been so consistent. I think way more consistent than D+, and way more consistent than KT Rolster. That's why they came in as the 4th seed here after round 2. Yeah. They just had the better record. And I'm really curious how the mid lane is going to go, but let's talk about the top side. A battle of Rumbles. These two players are incredible at Rumble right now. You can see Kingan's lane stats here across the entirety of this year outside of LCK Cup have been pretty strong. His damage per gold has been pretty insane. We have seen Perfect move away from damage dealers a lot. His DPM actually looking a little bit lower, of course. 10th in the league right now across top laners. He hasn't had great laning phases. You can see his CS difference at 15 there, his gold difference at 15. He has struggled. He has 2 solo kills. Kingan has 16. So, when you look at what I'm most concerned about for KT is both the inconsistencies of Perfect, although he looked great in that tiebreaker matchup, looked pretty good yesterday, and also his champion pool. When I talk about KT having issues in the champion pool, I'm mostly looking towards the top of the map.
Yeah, no, I would agree. And I think the champion pool issue isn't necessarily about what Perfect can play. It's more about what can he not let Kingan win the game with.
Exactly.
We need 7 different Scions. So far we've got 2 because we've got Scion and Ornn that you can both play to try and nullify some matchups there on the top side, but Perfect's going to need more than that because we just saw, the stats don't lie. Those were the good stats that Kingan had, at least 2nd in, right? Remember, Zeus is in our league, makes things difficult. Keen's here as well. Kingan, absolutely amazing, especially in round 2 of this season. And I feel like the bookending of Nongshim that we were skeptical of at the beginning of the season, right? Kingen and Lehens, are they going to be able to do it right? Mid jungle is so important. 80 carry controls the late game. Like, how are they supposed to get it done? Well, they showed us. They're fourth place.
Yesterday, absolutely.
Oh my God, yeah.
Just took Showmaker out of the series. Like, it was not close. It was a massive, massive performance from BDD, and Showmaker did not show up. And now he's playing up against Calix, you know, one of our younger players here, who has now a significant amount of experience, but nowhere near what BDD has. BDD has a wide champion pool as well, so I think that mid matchup, I think, could shore up some of the deficit that I think we both agree Perfect has in the matchup against Kingen there on the top side. But let's get into it.
Yeah.
Where are those Rumble bans gonna fall? When do we see that champ? That's, I think, one of the biggest priority picks we're gonna have in this early part of the series.
Yep, and is Jace going to be addressed as well, or do we think that perhaps just pick Sion and it's going to be fine? Nongshim likely going to be banning that one away as we dive into the draft here. The first ban against
BDD's Rise.
The 7-1 Rise for BDD's most played champion. An understandable ban here. I find it so interesting, Wolf, that his lowest win rates this season are that champion right there, the Azir, that he's most known for, the Galio, which back in the day he was most known, and Orianna.
Yeah.
Like, these three champions, and then there's like one more that he hasn't won a game on, and there are some lower sample sizes, but it just shows BDD has certainly been playing for an incredibly long time.
I love this ban here on the Pantheon, but this does leave a lot open. The 80 carry meta as well, we're seeing a big shift away from the Varus early picking that we've been seeing. It's usually much later in the draft that we're seeing that one now, where topside just gets completely decided first. Could be a consideration here, though. The Talia also a strong pick here for BDD, even with the Azir ban. The Sion's taken away from Perfect, which I think forces a Rumble ban into this third slot, and that might give Jiwa the opportunity to play the Kalista. That might be what he's angling for here if they wanted to first pick it. The problem is if you go for that on blue side, they can take the Renata away from you, and Peter loves to play that Nico counter pick, so I feel like this is just a pretty easy Rumble ban if you're KT Rolster.
Unless you think that the Ornn is good enough into it. And a lot of teams have been gravitating towards that. The Gwen could be taken away. The Poppy is the decision.
I feel like they just slam Rumble here and say, yeah, Ornn is...
Yeah, Ornn's fine, but I'm Kingen, yeah.
And I'm just going to generate a massive lead, and Perfect's lane stats are going to look like the average.
Talia is up.
Talia is up.
Oh, God.
And you don't want to give that to BDD, but I think giving it to Calix and giving Perfect the Rumble in this situation feels like a worse choice. They're just going to go for the Gwen straight up here. A Perfect has a choice if they do lock this to go either the Jace into this, which has looked pretty strong, or the Rumble a lot of teams have opted for. This is going to force Perfect to make that difficult decision.
Yeah, this is a tough one, and
he doesn't have to make it now, of course.
Yep, KT Rolster they could take Rumble Talia if they'd like to.
They could just go Talia Xinjiao and feel pretty good about it.
Yeah, that's another option.
And then save that Rumble for the third pick, potentially get some additional information here since the Gwen is already face up and not flexible. Surprised to see Trundle instead, but Cuz has been having such a great time on this pick. And they pick Sejuani into it! That's not it!
Well, it's Gwen, Sejuani, Yone. As far as like a top trio, that's pretty powerful. Sometimes you do need to look over the other side of the map, though, because not only is Trundle extraordinary into Sejuani, but the Rumble-Trundle combo is going to be coming in on top of it.
Yeah.
And they're already so incredibly short range. This cooks that, like, literally.
I feel like this is a bit of a flub here for Nongshim, really prioritizing the Permafrost synergy over the fact that Subjugate is just going to... I mean, it has trashed so many Sejuanis since Trundle became meta over the last few weeks. And while I do think if you cover the KT draft with your hand, it looks great.
Yeah.
We have to consider that. Now, I do like this Senna ban. Senna has been the bane of some of these lower range compositions. And we don't know what the 80 carry is going to be here, of course, for Duckdom just yet, but removing that does shore up some of the problems that the draft of Nongshim does have, and you know they could have mitigated with that pick. Senna gone, the Elise gone as well.
And this is such a worry, because now Peter gets to play either Alistair or the Rakan if you'd like to, or is Nico. You could also pick that one up, could hold people on top of the equalizer with that one. Nongshim, realizing that there are just too many things to take away, they decide instead to get rid of the Kalista. Take that one away from Duckdom, one of his better champions.
He can play Varus here, or he could just go for something super safe and lock in the Ezreal and just try to buy space, because there's so much that they can use to either play safe Ezreal or long-range Varus here and just sit back and poke and allow the front line here to do the work. It's not a tanky front line per se, but the Trundle will become tanky. You have pillars to disrupt the engages as well.
Man, KT's composition is getting real scary. Considering a Jin here, and I have no qualms. Like you say, you covered what KT has, and Nongshim's draft looks fine. You know, you have Jin for the follow-up on these melee carries that are going to be going in to try and lock down these kills. The amount of augmentation that you have, Deadly Flourish, fantastic. Starting up these fights, Lahen's on a lot of engage in this rel, but Peter gets Alistar.
Get the rel into the Alistar. I feel like the composition here from Nongshim is one that is bread and butter for them, right? Gideon loves his Sejuani. Calyx has been a very good Yone. King is a great Gwen. You have the Permafrost synergy there, and also you have Lahen's on engage, and there's a lot of setup here. There's a lot of explosive pick potential as well. If the Sejuani ults someone, Gio hits the Flourish, and then ults, and then that person gets caught. The Trundle gets blocked out, can't actually approach because he gets slowed, gets isolated. I can see the power here, because sometimes you can just ult the Trundle, keep him out of subjugate range, and then kill him with the follow-up melees that you have. But I think just on paper here, KT Rolster's comp is way easier to execute. You just ult this Sejuani and start pulling her in with the shoves from Talia. You got Peter on Alistar, you got BDD on historically one of his best champions. You have Perfect on his absolute best champion in the Rumble.
And I think across the board, these players would have blind picked these champs.
Yes.
Like almost all of them. Like, this is kind of ridiculous that KT managed to get this on the red side. Nongshim, theoretically, with a bit of an advantage because blue side has been picking up more victories here in the LCK than red. But KT kind of getting away with highway robbery here. And Nongshim, very cohesive draft. Like we said, you cover up what KT has, things are looking good. But I just think the amount of answers that KT has put together, right? The pillar gets so much done against so many of these champions. Being able to control the battlefield against double melee carry top side of the map is just going to be a huge deal, but they're going to have to be playing well. And we know that KT, on any given day, you never know. Let's get into it.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen. This is your road to MSI round 2. And already, Kingen is going to be walking out of a brush. Oh no, dashing forward. It's a little bit frightening. Some ghosts have been popped already. The Hail of Arrows doesn't connect, but the threaded volley does. Still, that is just getting a ghost.
Yeah, you can see on the other side of the map here, of course, Lahen's going to get some deep vision in here. So it's not without cost. See the backs here from Duckdom and Peter. They rush back towards the bottom lane, but we'll give Nongshim the advantage there on what's already a pretty strong level 1 with the Jin and Rel. Feeling pretty good about that. Kingen has to take it back. Dropped his Ghost, so end of the day, a relatively even trade here, assuming no accidents occur down in that level 1 in the bottom 2v2. They are, of course, on vision, clearing this blue buff, so full information goes over to Nongshim. I think if played perfectly here, Nongshim's comp can actually still crush this composition. It's just the execution burden is quite high, and based on what we saw in their final series of the regular season, that's the last real checkup we've had on this team. I'm not sure if they will necessarily be up to the task. But like you said, a lot of comfort here across the board on both teams.
Well, there's a crash down as Nongshim starting things off pretty aggressively. Duckdom down to 50%, and Lahen's pretty happy to weather that storm. Ju was taking a bit of damage from Peter in the meantime. That is a bit of a victory here for Nongshim. And like you mentioned, it's a powerful bottom lane in the laning phase. Alistar not necessarily known for his level 1.
He does get to hold his heal. Lahen's dropping the Ignite, and now Jiu's health bar has been equalized. Level 2.
Yeah. And it's just going to be mounting up, walking towards them, but it looks like KT just going to seed this and look to catch it as it crashes in. So nothing too surprising here. And it should be KT able to just lick their wounds under the turret and be more than fine. Having a look at what they've been able to get from the deep vision, they know that Cuz started on his bottom side of the map, moving up towards that top side, and Gideon has been pretty comfortably full clearing his jungle as well. So haven't seen too much from the junglers just yet.
I do like the lethality Varus here for Duckdom going for the Comet. Pretty big tell that that will be the build path he is looking for here, considering the most tanky member will be the Sejuani, and she won't be that tanky when Trundle is in the picture.
Yep. As Calyx just not enjoying his time on the rocks, as he generally would.
BDD does like his, he enjoys a little Yone on the rocks.
Yes, yeah. He's not a neat kind of guy.
No.
Lehen's visiting, but isn't going to be able to find an angle here.
They are in full control of this bottom lane, by the way. Like, Peter is surfing around the brush, and you know, there's just a lot potentially going to be lost here in this bottom lane as Lens is really fishing for this.
Yeah,
And Cuz is here.
Yeah, Cuz going to move in. Calyx, health bar in
Peter?
a little bit of a rough spot.
Like, they're like, Lens is over
God,
here.
They're closing in, and there's the flash forward. Lehens may have found the only window to get in there, but I don't think it's going to be enough. The seismic shove
He's
pulls
dead.
back the Rel. He's headbutted under the turret. He knows there is no way he's getting out of that one. The pulverized headbutt from Peter, beautifully done.
What a puzzling call, though, from Lehens to stay
I
that
think
long.
he knew that like he was just dead if they checked it, and so he had to try.
Yeah, he had to try, but I think once they were coming up, he had to try for sure. Like, I completely agree, but he could have just opted out a long time ago. As BDD was playing so safe, and Peter 100% knew because they checked everything. He walked all the way around. He's like, Lens is in the middle, in the mid lane. He's hovering the river. I'm going to wrap around on Alistar. If he tries it, I'm going to headbutt him into the turret. BDD was super ready for this. And nothing is expended on the KT side. No summoners go down. BDD gets a free kill, and they read the play so well. Even Cuz was there.
Yeah. I'll correct you though, Wolf. They used a heal.
Oh, true. Yeah, they did kill.
Yeah,
Sorry,
so
my
they
bad.
didn't use any flashes.
No flashes.
So it's actually like, yeah, almost free here for KT. Beautifully done. Secure themselves first blood. It only gets them about 400 gold in the lead. This composition from Nongshim wants mid-game to really start skirmishing and making things happen. And side lanes are going to be a big problem. Like, this composition can 1-3-1 really effectively, and that takes away some of the KT power as Old Deer. Perfect doing a pretty good job. His Game 2 Rumble performance yesterday was subpar. He didn't
was
have
not
a very
his
good
best
time.
Rumble game.
And it was this exact matchup. It was not, that was the game where Shiu could have potentially just won the game by himself. He did not, but still.
He certainly had a lot of angles, too.
He did.
And did keep D+ very relevant. That was the Shiu versus BDD game.
That was.
But at the end of the day, in this one, Rumble looking a lot better, or perfect. As Kingan's already TP'd, he'll get his free back here. And this bottom lane started off okay for Gio and Lehens, right? They had the level 1 advantage, but it fell by the wayside. Then Lehens tried to make it a roam to turn things around, as we do have Gideon.
Yeah, ulti coming in here from Calyx as well, as PDD puts some rocks down, wants to throw away Calyx, who does stun himself up, and the Winter's Wrath not going to do anything at all. Cuz moving in, only level 5, won't be able to subjugate the Sejuani just yet, and the flash does have to be expended. KT still holds on to all of theirs.
Perfect has his ultimate here. He's fishing for something, trying to actually look for a nuke onto Calyx, it looks like, but nope, just going to drop a ward, doesn't go any further than that, but gets a lot of vision down with that prio. Remember, Calyx flashed, BDD did not in that last exchange, so there's more advantages here for the side of KT Rolster.
Things definitely going from good to still fine here for KT. Their performance yesterday felt like a huge step up. So interesting saying that, right? Because it's, if you were someone coming in that just saw that this roster exists now and you were watching last year and you're like, oh, KT's in the road to MSI? Obviously they are. Like, Cuz is a really good player. BDD's amazing. These guys should be brilliant. They'd be wondering why Doctom's playing a little bit better this time around, but outside of that, I don't think you'd be too surprised about the performance of Cuz, for example.
No, definitely
but
not.
He definitely did not look this incredible in round 1.
I mean, in round 1, KT was on an insane losing streak.
Yeah.
And then they turned it around. It was crazy.
Remember, this team only barely made it into the Legend group, and they beat Homo Life Esports.
Yeah, and almost beat Gen G, by the way.
Yeah. Equalizer going to go down here as Kingan taking a few ticks
No
of it.
flash, he might just be dead here.
Oh dear, the heat is stacking up. The Flame Spitter, there it is! Solo kill! 4 perfect, and Peter is looking for something on the other side. BDD to catch up to him, and the flick back onto Lehens will spell the death of the Horse Pants Lady. That is going to be 3 kills for KT. The feats of warfare coming in. They are going strength to strength in this game.
KT have advantages everywhere now. The solo kill in the top lane. BDD's 2 kills early here. The lane advantage that Duckdom and Peter were able to get. They got a plate bottom side. I mean, it's 200 gold the advantage for Duckdom right now. We head into the lane swap here for Gio. I mean, the Drake is already KT's. And the full wave is in control of KT Rolster right now. They can choose whatever they want to do right now. They have full control over this game. And when we talked about the draft and the concerns about how hard it is to execute Nongshim's, the fact that KT have this much of a lead this early is very concerning.
Yeah, no, it's a big worry. Gideon going to come on over. Does have his smite now on cooldown, but I believe had another charge. That's going to be coming up pretty soon.
They're just going to let the grubs go, it looks like here, with the back timing of the Rumble.
Yep. And we had triple Chemtech Soul yesterday. Ox isn't actually here at Lore Park today, so I'm a little bit worried. It may just continue. These Void Grubs are going to be the first ones to go down as Lahans looks for a bit of an angle. That's a decent pulverize to try and help him out, but doesn't get Gideon over the wall, and Gideon is just going to take down the cow. So mispositioning there from Mr. Peter, you could say.
Yeah, I mean, there were 4 members of Nongshim on the top side there, and unfortunately for KT, they don't get any sort of cross map because of it. There's a bit of a greedy positioning there from Peter, just trying to see what was going on Grubs, get some additional information, is punished hard. So a big bounce back here for Nongshim. Yeah, it does even up the gold quite a bit, but the kill goes over to Gideon. So that's not great news if you're Nongshim, but it's at least a step in the right direction.
Yep, and the fact that they get the 3 grubs is also pretty fantastic for a composition that does want to play around side lanes just a little bit.
100%, that's a very valuable get. Perfect is having the game, man.
Oh my goodness, Kingen is not very safe inside his circle. Does have the Horse Lady coming up, as Perfect might actually get baited in here. There's the equalizer. Lahans shows himself a little early, and Perfect doesn't seem too worried about it. He's just going to continue walking at this Gwen, and look at the wave state.
Yeah, look at the top lane as well. Like, Jin's coming down to try to bail out bottom side, but who's going to deal with the top wave? There's no TP for Kingen, who has to leave. The wave state is doomed. Top side is boom. Calyx is about to get solo killed.
KT just look better.
Are KT actually just...
No.
Are they just a good team, Atlas?
I don't know. I think KT are a team here in the LCK, and I'll leave it at that. I think we'll leave it at that. BDD unleashes his teleport, as I could have sworn, like, the most KT thing would have been if Lahens just comes over and Shattering strikes BDD and he just dies. That would have been the moment for that to happen. Maybe Chronicler was right. Maybe Caster Curses aren't actually real, as Peter's going to come down and just says hi. And
Just wants to get BDD a little bit of a back here so he doesn't get stopped by a flourish or something like that. He does have the TP. Has not had to flash this game. Has just been chilling and putting on that lane pressure with the early advantage that he has. It's kind of started to snowball a little bit. He'll be heading straight to the side lane. In fact, right now doesn't even need to use that TP. We'll have it for the dragon fight potentially here that breaks out in about 90 seconds. Now the bottom side is controlled by Nongshim. They're looking for a play here onto Perfect. It does have flash, but no equalizer. He needs some help here.
Yeah, Cuz moving into position, and they do have Gideon coming over. Peter spots out Lahans, and now they're looking for the angle. The Magnustorm connects onto 2 as Doctor Arm is the target. Peter's getting rid of the rest of them, though, and it's only Lahans that was able to get on top of the AD carry. Chains of Corruption goes wide, and the unbreakable will of Peter is unfortunately going to be broken, as he does get a little bit of a headbutt off, but Gio's still going to be able to take him down. Because Peter, a lot of experience alongside these Nongshim players. They get the better of him there.
Yeah. It's a really good shout. Ex-teammate of many of them. Well, ex-player of Nongshim.
Yep.
Bit of a different roster back then.
Yeah, Gio was definitely there, though.
Yeah, and you know, we did have him come in like during the effort days and all that, but Calyx here is a level down. It is just going to straight up ult.
Yeah, he's going to have to get out of the way of this extraordinarily dangerous robot guy. Perfect is spacing beautifully. He is locked in today.
Oh, he really is, and he's got Swifties, and he's just chilling. Is this going to get a reaction out of Gideon? He may be baited, though.
I take it all back. Caster Curses are indeed real. As now Gideon's going to come in and look to see whether he can get at least a flash, and he does get that. Never mind the turnaround coming on in. The equalizer is pretty beautifully placed, but Gideon throws out the Glacial Prison. BDD create the positioning. Peter with the headbutt. Actually beautifully done. Separates Gideon from the rest of the 2. They say, we'll take that. Look for some plates here off the back end.
Oh, the other side, though, Gwen going to be looking for some plates top side here as well with those 3 grubs. I think KT need to get a little bit more here. As okay, they do have a teleport from Perfect that will stop that. So this actually works out really well. They use BDD's teleport, but because Perfect still has these, he can just answer that, and that is going to be the second dragon here from KT off of a side lane play. Sure, Peter died moments before, but the Drake wasn't up yet, so Nongshim couldn't capitalize it. Now, to 2 dragon lead here. Let's find out what Soul. Another Chemtech.
See, I knew it. I knew it. He was right here on the broadcast yesterday, and 3 Chemtech snuck through.
I swear every other
There was
patch,
no hope.
Every other patch, man, it's got to be bugged. Like,
Yeah,
just-
it's very odd.
like on this patch, we have had nothing but Chemtech souls.
And you know what? It actually kind of makes Trundle really broken. Maybe
Yes.
that's why the Trundle priority has gone up, because everyone knows that there are just way too many Chemtech souls.
So this year-
this was a perfect flash. Honestly.
Yeah, I like Gideon looking for the Glacial Prison onto Peter, but unfortunately BDD does have the TP in live. Perfect is just getting away from a bit of aggression there from Kingen, but
And wow.
Well,
It's
is
gonna
he
be the
getting away?
counter solo kill as the snip comes in. Not quite enough. As speaking of not quite enough, Calyx able to get himself out of there with a sliver of health, but Lahens, I don't think he's going to be so lucky. He throws out the Magnet Storm to try and hold Peter in place, but the Unbreakable Will lasts just long enough. Nongshim just looking to take some plates here from the top side. They are Nongshim, they prefer to take bowls, but plates will have to do, even though the soup may not stick around.
hey, sometimes I get a small little plate for my ramyun and, you know, grab the noodles out and hold the plate underneath.
If it's the noodles that you want to drain first, you know, then it's totally doable on a
They're not going to win this race, though, I don't think. Even with the grubs, Trundle hitting that pretty hard. Equalizer gets dropped down here as well. They're not even going to get it.
Nope.
And bottom side, the turret does go over. That speeds of strength here to KT Rolster, and they manage to continue to stack up. It's a 2,000 gold lead. We've certainly seen bigger at 14 minutes, but I'm so concerned about what it means for team fights later on with this Trundle being such a big issue. And everyone else is an issue, right? This Yone is significantly behind. Like, Calyx is not able to side lane into BDD or Perfect. He's just getting focused here in this game. As you can see here, you know, while that play happened topside, Calyx, the house goes down, and it's a really good combo here from Peter. And he's just in a whole house of trouble, and Lahens is the one who gets left out to dry.
And I don't know what the context was here. Maybe they knew that Lahens was in that brush, definitely, and snuck around, but maybe just pressing B was the real answer there from Lahens. Just stay in the brush and go home. Could have been the angle, because of course the Yone did manage to make it out. Still, hindsight 2020 and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I think he wanted to maybe try to salvage the play, but unfortunately I don't think that one was going to be salvageable in any way.
Yeah.
Still nearly getting that turret on the top side of the map, but now in danger is Kingen.
Seen this play before, but this time Gideon's going to come on over. That is a seismic shove just to zone him out of the way. The tri-brush covered in rocks, not something that Nongshim wants to be face checking.
Perfect doesn't have his TP just yet, so this is a bit awkward here for KT. They are going to be a man down for this fight. I think giving this up is probably the correct call.
Yep, because can throw the pillar into this brush, make things frustrating, but they don't have a lot of vision. There are 5 people of Nongshim.
Let's see a
over
steal.
here. Yeah, the rotation up is coming on through here as there's the knock up onto Kuz, and they just burst him down. No subjugation even available. As now Kingen dashing around the fight. BDD catches out Geo on the offside, and he just throws a huge rock at Lahens. Geo able to flash his way out, but BDD's flashing after him. Doctom and Peter trying to keep themselves alive as Calyx starting to go bonkers in this Herald pit. And now Perfect has turned up. This Flame Spitter is so scary. 3 versus 2 as Nongshim look to run away. They did manage to get themselves a Rift Herald. There is a positive in this play, but the positives for KT are looking like they're better. 4-4-2 in advantage here for KT.
Oh man, I was so worried for KT in that moment that they were going to really overextend and trickle in to this fight, because look at where Rumble is on the minimap. He hasn't quite even hit the mid lane just yet. When Cuz goes in for a steal, doesn't get it, is just immediately blown up. Now a lot is used for this. Geo is zoned out, so this buys enough time for Perfect to come through. Lahens goes down to basically 0. BD is so fed that he could basically
Didn't even get the eye.
Yeah,
No, Gideon did though, so it's fine.
he does ultimately get it. Watch this peel here, by the way, from Peter. Knocks Calyx away, stuns him here, trying to give Duckdom some space, but once Calyx goes back to his soul, or sends his soul back to his body, I suppose you should say.
Yeah, something like that.
Death cap for Cutie and all that. He is going to eventually get pushed out, and then Kingen is isolated. So, big kills here for KT in the fight. They do pick up the eye, like you said. That's the one saving grace. They're going to drop it on this turret that was basically dead anyways, and KT are looking for a play here in mid.
Peter is just constantly going for these plays. Does get rid of the Gwen, who was running towards the cow. It's going to try and go for a little bit of a siege. I don't know whether they're going to be getting it here as Kingen's going to be moving in. Peter wanting to try and peel him as best he can. The headbutt's being utilized. The trample as well is so good at buying so much time. Needlework coming on through, but there it is. Chains of Corruption with the follow-up, and down goes the Gwen. The flash headbutt as Gideon is pulled out of position, and Peter dies but he's always trading up.
Oh man, Peter is
Apart from the times when he didn't earlier in the game.
Yeah, but he's having in his highs, man, an incredible end here of the first half of the year. As BDD hiding on this brush here, they're looking for a play, lands on the flank.
Yeah, there's a curtain call to come through as well, and that is pinpoint onto BDD into this backline. The Seraph's shield not going to be enough for Hens. Will trade himself for it, and now Perfect is gonna chase down this Jhin. Dokdom gonna grab a double kill by sniping him with that piercing arrow. And once again, Nongshim finding like a heroic play onto one person and then losing half of their team.
Yeah, Calix making the play, has 3 kills now on this Yone, but is going to go down.
Yeah,
opportunistic there.
Yeah, it's like the one guy in the game where like everyone else is running around with knives and he's got a flamethrower, and it's just a little bit unfair. That's what Perfect's making this game kind of feel like.
And like in these types of moments, it looks like, okay, maybe there's an overextension here, but you can see what we were talking about in draft. Cuz goes for the subjugate right away here, so doesn't have it really for the later part of the fight, but it doesn't matter because Peter is so tanky, and look at how easy it is to play KT's comp. You just find target, delete target. And Peter is just like, all right, I'm looking for the play on Gideon now. Let's take the jungler out. He dies for it, but it's 100% worth.
Flash as well.
Yeah. And then over here, it looks like Lehens has this really beautiful angle where you can collapse on with Calix here. The ult comes out from the Jhin. Lehens goes in.
The immediate interruption as well with the pillar meant that the curtain call did nothing. It was one bullet, I think.
It was only one shot, and the setup was good. And then Gio just gets run down by Perfect, who's coming straight out of base and has Swifties and has Phase Rush, and you are just not going to get away from him. And then Calix here, again, trying to make something of this. He does not have flash. It's coming up in like 10 seconds, we saw, but it's not there yet. Well, Ian is going for a play.
Perfect actually going to be respecting the Gwen here, waiting for that needlework to come down as the equalizer comes on through. There are 3 members of Nongshim here. They're still running away from a cow and a robot.
And here comes that Trundle. I think running away is the correct choice.
Yeah.
As Dokdom in the mid lane is just clearing this wave out. KT just don't have any holes in this game so far.
Not yet. As Ju gonna look to see whether he can defend. Dancing Grenade going to be helping out. Seismic Shove, no crash down for you, Lehens, as the Chains of Corruption comes in. Peter able to headbutt him around, and Lehens nowhere to go. Aftershock not helping even a little bit, and the Otacon is gonna be coming up in 7 seconds time. I don't know whether KT are gonna head straight down there, but I think they could if they felt like it. It is seeming like one of those games.
If it was an even game state and if there wasn't an interrupt, maybe Lehens has an angle there. Maybe there's a follow-up where the Jhin actually finds something out of the potential angle that Lehens was looking for there to potentially crash down Flash Magnet Storm. But KT just turn it on its head again. Are going to turn this into an Otacon. Contesting this will be a challenge.
Flash just going to get BDD out of there. Yep. And so Calix shows himself on the top side of the map. That is going to mean that this Otacon does go down. Gideon tries his best, but it does not work out. And look at that. Just put a little kennel in the tri-brush, and you all walk away for free.
Yeah, no no sort of trade back here, no exit kills, nothing, even with the composition that has such long-range follow-up as Gideon. I don't know about this, man.
I don't know about that one either. We get the zoom in onto Peter, who didn't get the headbutt down. That's okay, as Kingin, he's diving forward. The equalizer positioning on top of the kennel is gorgeous, but the Gwen is able to, but never mind! The piercing arrow as Dokdom makes his presence known. It's a double kill for the Varus, and KT they just have every play read.
Yeah, it's every single moment, every single angle Nongshim think they have, and it gets tougher and tougher the further you fall behind. We're looking at 6-17. 23 kills in this game at 21 minutes in, and KT bounties are up, but good luck getting even a single one of those as Dokdom, the sniper, 7 kills on this Varus, is going to take out the mid turret. Bottom turret is defended. The only thing that Nongshim got in this game was a top turret and the Herald, basically, which didn't really give them much. They used the Herald to get like the last 20% of that top turret, and then they got the grubs, but there's been very little time for any of these players to actually hit a turret because they've just been behind the 8 ball this entire game. Every play they've made has been read from KT, as starting from Lehens' roam to the mid lane. It's just been read play after play, and yes, this play from Peter was kind of funny, but at the end of the day, trying to force into this choke point when the Rumble has his ultimate here is frankly a little foolish, I feel like, but Nongshim know that they're mostly thinking about game 2 at this point. Like, there's not much you're going to find here. Maybe if KT make a mistake, maybe if they don't play it right, maybe if it's a flub on the equalizer, maybe there's an angle, but KT aren't flubbing so far.
Yep. That equalizer was, I guess, a little bit of a flub, but I don't think Perfect needs it to kill King, and he indeed definitely does not. Him and Peter going to be easily able to take him down as the outer turret going to fall soon after. 18-6.
Maybe a bounty on the cards here?
Oh. potentially. Calyx there towards that bottom side, utilizing those 3 grubs that they did manage to pick up. Feels like a distant memory here for Nongshim fans. And do you know where the cope comes from, Wolf?
Where?
The cope comes from talking about KT as a team.
Yeah.
And do you know what a
God.
beautifully played game like this means? That means that there are a lot of people at home thinking that KT are perhaps a very good team, which could be worrying for the next few games. In goes Peter, seismic shove gonna pull back Gideon. They are just, it's a hive mind for KT here as they set up the CC and take down the jungler. Now BDD looking to get rid of Kingen as well, and yeah, he is not getting out of that. Toasted and taken down. It's BDD with a double kill. They're going to look for an inner turret off the back end of it, and KT could take anything that they like. There is a soul on the table for this team if they would like it.
Cuz didn't even ult Gideon. He's like, well, he's caught, man. It's done. It's over. I don't even need to take his resistances away. I'll save it for something else.
Yep.
And, I mean, it's just systematic here. Calyx now zoned away, has to ult in exchange, and this turret is under fire here. Feels like KT have Baron with how much control they have over the map and how much siege they've been able to get done. They are going to be able to take this fourth, Chemtech Dragon here, the soul in this game. And, I mean, you look at plays like this, and it's like
the Mega Cone.
He's just trying to farm, man. He's just trying to play the game. But Peter and Perfect say, no, you're not allowed.
Yep. And that was actually beautifully set up there from Peter.
And look at this, like you said, it's almost tool assisted. Like, just the pillar there, Gideon just throws out his ult in frustration. As this TP here, unfortunately for King, and was optimistic at best, and BDD just instantly locks him in. Perfect is 100% on the same page as him, and KT, his team is looking good right now. And I mean, I feel like maybe D+ fans are feeling a little bit better about the 0-3 loss yesterday after watching this. Now, the draft here is insanely good for KT. Let's not mince words about that, but I feel like the play has backed it up, especially in this early game where Nongshim have been able to find no footholds.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the walk, talk the talk thing, right? They talk the talk in the draft, and we're like, yeah, that's pretty, yeah, we agree. And then now they're walking the walk, and they're looking real comfortable while they do it as well. They do manage to take the soul. That is Chemtech soul for Cuz, and so this Trundle will not be killed. I don't think, again, in this game, as Lehens will. He is looking to go down right about now. BDD at melee range with everyone, but he's so far ahead it does not matter. That's perfect down there coming from the enemy base. And so that is going to spell a Baron for KT, and I don't think that there's going to be any answer.
None.
Baron just spawned 5 seconds ago, and KT are going to look to remove it from the rift.
He has TP, but where's he going to go? I mean, look at all the vision they have. Now, I want to talk about something here really interesting. You mentioned it, and I think it was a really good call-out. This almost could have been blind pick for these two teams, right? In terms of what they love to play, what they've been playing leading up to this game.
I mean, it definitely looked blind pick for Nongshim.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, like, they ended up getting completely countered and destroyed by KT in this draft, but they're also playing some of their best champions, and that means all of these champions are gone for the rest of this best of 5. It was an expensive choice for Nongshim to get their comfort into a, frankly, kind of counter draft here from KT, and they're not going to have that coming into game 2. They're not going to have Calyx's Yone anymore. No Gideon on the Sejuani, and that's what's more concerning for the implications of what happens later in this series as well. KT with such a start.
Yeah, I would agree. A 1-0, especially with a win on red side, it is such a big deal. Even if Nongshim win a game back in the series, it means that KT gets to go over to blue that they have looked a little bit better on. It was, in fact, they managed to win on red side in the tiebreaker, but it was blue traded for blue. Those were the stomps, right? Game 1, KT being able to bring themselves over the line against DK, the most important game in the series yesterday. So KT now on red looking this dominant really does show. Like, it's a 9,000 gold lead. This is just kind of absurd. And just to try and bring us back down to earth, because we are sort of riding the momentum of this game, which is dangerous because it's KT. There is someone in chat, Death Set. I think that's how you pronounce it. Anyway, it's just draft if. Any team would win with red side draft. Nothing special from KT. And that is the kind of energy I want to see from all of you guys. That's what we need to hold close.
Yeah, it's not like BDD is playing Talia that he's really good at, or Perfect playing his best champion Rumble that took away from Kingen. Kingen went for the Gwen or anything like that. No. It's just anyone would have won. It could have been me, Atlas.
It's not going to be Lehens. Lehens just walked over 1,000,000 wards and is now probably in trouble. Cuz is just walking away from everyone. He's down to 50% health though. Might need to subjugate that one back. as the wall goes down. The shove connects onto Gideon, and he is just eliminated. Equalizer to stop anyone from escaping. Kingen gonna go down. There is the heroic play from Calyx into the back line. It looked really cute. It looked really cool, but ultimately he dies, and this is gonna be the ace for KT. Perfect might be dying for the first time, and never mind. There's a pillar. There's a pulverize. There is a cow in pajamas, and KT are looking for game one.
That is the end of that. Atlas, 12,000 goal lead at the end. A sub 28-minute game here, faster than average, and KT making it look easy. They're fourth in a row here in Road to MSI.
Look at that nonchalant man making his way out. Cuz hands in pockets.
He's
Give
like,
me a challenge is what he's saying.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's what it looks like. And you look at a series like what we saw yesterday, and there were some strong points for KT that were so incredibly punishing, right? I feel like they were punishing in this game as well. Some of the greed from Kingen in the lane. Lehenz's attempt to make a play mid that was read incredibly well and was matched by Peter there. They read it so well. The laning phase that was strong for Duckdom was looking so good on this Varus. And he gets it. Perfect gets his Rumble. BDD gets his Talia. And I think the Nongshim coaching staff probably regretting some of the decisions they made in this one.
Yep. And I think it was as soon as those two picks were collected on red side, right? Like, as soon as you see Talia Trundle, you can't stop the Rumble from coming down. The Gwen was already locked in that top lane. And so they had to just say, well, we'll just make the best of it. Perfect doubled the damage of Kingen. And I want to remind everyone of the stats that we were looking at prior. Kingen was like second in every stat. This guy was performing so well from round 2 onwards. He has been the linchpin for this Nongshim team. Perfect was looking a little bit rough around the edges yesterday. Today looked unbelievable. I'm worried, man.
It is a worrying trend here for sure, especially with how expensive this Fearless draft here was for Nongshim. We're gonna have to go back to the drawing board. They'll be on blue side, you have to imagine, for game 2.
Exactly, time for us to take a short break. When we get back, Space gonna break it down. We'll have game number 2.
레프트 보러 가자. 적당히 서 있어. 레프트 가자. 내가 뒤에 갈라줄게. 그냥 레 편하게 봐. 레 봐봐. 레 편하게 봐. 레 편하게 봐. 레 잡았어. 천천히. 레 잡았어. 뭐야 이거? 나 궁 볼게. 봐봐. 나 크게 들어갈게. 레 빨았어 일단. 궁 해줘. 가져. 눈에 묶어볼게. 오케이. 맞아줘. 살려. 이동 3초. 이동 가능. 대펄 있을걸? 이동은 돼. 와우. 이 승민이 볼이 좋다 오늘. 승민이 폼 좋네. 왼볼인데. 편하게 따서 끝났다. 아쉽다. 어제 못 따서 그래.
불이 꺼졌습니다.
게임도 잠시 꺼졌습니다.
퍼진데
버그가 있다.
어떤 내용인지는 들어오는 대로 말씀드리겠습니다. 메이크업을 하다가 살짝 말 한번 붙였었거든요.
네.
제가 고향이 어디냐고 물어봤더니 야옹 이런.
우와. 상상만 해도 굉장히 귀여울 것 같아요.
동작을 같이 보셨어야 됐는데 저 입덕했습니다.
이렇게 사회로 나가시는 분들도 있고
맞아요.
보시면서 재밌게.
출근 중요해요. 힘들 때마다 여기 오시고 승진하면 오시고 앞에 분이 굉장히 당황스러워하시네요. 애매할 때 걸렸죠.
뒤졌다 오늘.
라이전드 찍자. 시원하게. 라는 삼행시를 좋은 관계신 거죠, 두 분은? 아닌가요? 뭐 안 좋은 관계는 아닌 것 같은데, 그렇죠? 좋은 관계시잖아요, 그렇죠?
이 묘한
아시시는데
분위기
괜한 걸 물어보네요. 죄송합니다. 넘길까요?
Follow me.
영어를 활용한 우리
실제로 보면 거인이에요, 거인.
실물 대단하다고 하더라고요.
그렇죠.
폴리 어깨가 너무 커.
못 뽑듯이 그냥 한 손으로 드는 거 아니야? 한 손으로 들릴 것 같은데?
네, 나 이러면 팔 안 닿을 듯.
팔 혼자 막 이렇게 들어.
그냥 맞짱들어 해. 너가 떠야 돼.
너가 따야지.
예?
근데 불을 어떻게 불?
야, 이제 성격 좀 빡세긴 하네. 그리고 단장님 있잖아, 단장님.
아 단장님인데 1등 확인하겠다.
근데 펜타킬이긴 하네.
저는 한 번씩 이렇게 지나가다 마주치면 위축돼요.
혼이 해설이 거의 허리 쪽에 걸리더라고요.
안 될걸요? 골반 간당하던데. 과제 써세요. 과제를 마음껏 써세요. 써는 사운드라도 만들게. 편안하게 치시면 되시겠습니다. 많이 불편하세요? 불편하시군요. 커트! 딴 쪽으로 한번 넘어가 보도록 하겠습니다.
자, 다음 분 나와주세요.
인사하고. 외국분은 저희가 좀 힘든데.
헬로.
근데 화이팅을 쓰신 거 보면 한국말을 좀 하실 줄 아세요? 넘어가도록 하겠습니다. 이쪽은 저희가 길게 하기가 쉽지가 않아. 워우를 쓰신 건가? 와우를 쓰신 건가? 근데 이 두 분은 전에도 오신 것 같은데 처음 오셨어요? 잘못 봤군요. 미안합니다. 하지만 우리는 다 가족이니까 익숙한 얘기예요. 비상! 지금 비상 속보가 들어왔습니다. 버그가 없었던 걸로 확인이 됐다고 합니다. 그래서 크론 없이 경기를 진행됩니다. 이 두 분이
말 그대로 속행이죠?
속행이란 얘기예요. 고어헤드란 얘기예요. You know what I'm saying?
바로 진행시켜인가요?
진행합니다. 이렇게 말이죠. 기다리신 여러분께 다시 한번 감사의 말씀 전해드리겠습니다.
사진 한 장만. 시그니처 포즈 있나요? 포즈? 하고 싶은 포즈? 생각해도 천천히 생각해도 괜찮아요.
혹시 뭐 세레모니 있어요? 그 레이지드 선수 거 있을까요?
이것만 있어요.
그거 있어요? 그럼 한번 할게요.
어때요? 그 원래 프로필 사진 찍으실 때 어떤 포즈 하셨어요? 뒤에 프로필 찍을 때 뭐 했어요? 이거 했어요. 네네.
긴장했어요?
아니요? 그냥 떠오르요.
더워서 인터뷰. SK 첫 POM 받았는데 소감 한마디 부탁드려요.
저 SK 체어에서 POM 많이 받았어요. 기분 좋아. 근데 처음 POM SK에서 그래서 기분 더 좋아. 응원해줘서 감사합니다. 앞으로 더 열심히 하겠습니다. 감사합니다.
네.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Spaces. We are on the road to MSI, and the road to Busan is one series away. It's a very special day because I look like a referee, and I'm joined by the Valdanalist on the desk, along with Wadid. It is 1-0 KT. The roller coaster is only going up, gentlemen.
They're just so good. KT's in form, Perfect's in form, BDD's in form, Cuz is in form, Duckdom's in form, Peter's, well, he had some issues in this first game, but he's been looking good too. KT, they're just, they can't be stopped.
Yeah, and also I really like the draft by KT as well. I feel like they finally figured out what's the priority, and I feel like they just build around it really well.
Yeah, we're going to cover this draft for you here with some Wava TV. Wadid and Valdez TV as they break down some of their most important picks here, which is basically all of them. Let's take a look.
So yeah, you can start with those 3 picks.
Yeah, so the thing is, these 3 picks are fantastic, right?
Yeah.
When Sejuani and Yone are amazing. We all know that. We all know the synergy with the Permafrost. It's great. But if you look at it in isolation, it's fantastic, even with the Jhin and the Rumble. But just look across the board at what they gave over and what they're going into with their composition. It just does not do very well.
Yeah, I totally agree with that because, like, yeah, those 3 picks are great, but can you actually play into Taliyah, Trundle, and Rumble? I would say you cannot because Taliyah literally counters all the melee champions and also Trundle counters Sejuani quite easily. And I think also Rumble wins Gwen, which is their first pick. So I feel like even though it synergizes really well with the Sejuani, I feel like Taliyah, Trundle, Rumble has a higher priority than those 3 picks. And I think, and like them picking Alista into all those melee champions feels really awkward. Because I feel like if they actually picked away the Alista, and I think they had the better synergy with it, but I feel like the Alista counters like all the champions from Nongshim here. So I feel like they had really great draft, but KT had the better draft.
KT had an amazing draft. I mean, we all know what this does, right? But you talked about how this is good into that. But these do so well together as well. Trundle really enables all of the seismic shelves to hit, all of the equalizers to hit as well, and even the Varus Chain of Corruption as well. So you've just got this amazing composition, very well-rounded, and it's so good into what Nongshim have. I feel like Nongshim had a specific plan coming into today, and they executed it without looking at the other side.
That's right, Tibbers. What did you think? Nope, they weren't able to execute it. As we had an early lane gank in the mid lane by Lehens. He's done this all season long, left Jiwoo on an island, and KT know it. They're ready for the counter gank.
So here's the thing. Like, they have to kill Taliyah in the early game. They have Yone, Sejuani. So I feel like their early game plan is all about the attacking mid lane, but I feel like BDD, like, he just soaked all the pressure and all the ganks from Nongshim. I think that made Nongshim really hard in the early game plan.
Yeah, it really did. I mean, when the Rel gets this far behind, we saw that Lehens ended the game at like 0-9 or something in this one. Not even necessarily totally his fault. Like, yes, it was his idea to go mid, but the fact that his gank just got totally stumped and he fell so far behind meant that he never really had a chance to come back, and he was just really in a bad spot this whole game.
Yeah, and I feel like BD had really smart choice about his rune. Especially him picking bone plating and unflinching made him really strong in the early game. So I feel like Nongshim game plan is all about attacking BDD, but it didn't work out because of like BDD's rune choice. And I feel like he did a really smart choice over Nongshim.
So because he was able to soak so much of the early pressure, then KT were able to punish on the top and bot side of the map, capitalize here. This man Perfect has had a huge transformation from round 1 to round 2 and the road to MSI.
First pick Gwen, by the way.
Yeah, first pick Gwen. I mean, Kingen is very confident on this, even though he did go, I think it was 0-4 in that one game, just really quickly. Not in this one, but he also did get solo killed.
No.
You're giving over
First
Rumble
pick Gwen,
to
by the way.
And you're just not doing a very good job. So he gets solo killed, and then in the bottom lane as well, the Alistair engage here from Peter, and of course, BDD comes over right on time, and they get another pick. And we don't have any other highlights because the game is essentially over after this. The Rel is too far behind. You've lost the top lane. The mid lane is already in shambles, and the Rel has died again. So it's pretty much over from here.
Yeah, it shows why Taliyah is just first priority in this draft nowadays, because I feel like whenever you have the priority on the mid lane, it's really easy to snowball from that one. You just have the global ultimate to just move around the map, and also you have like so many abilities to push the mid lane really fast. And I feel like they try to attack Taliyah, but it didn't work out because you're playing against BDD, you're playing against Taliyah, which is not great with the melee champions. So I feel like the draft plan was bad, but also the in-game plan got counter-attacked by KT as well.
All right, well, KT, they've had such a huge buff in terms of games. They played the tiebreaker, they've played the first round of Road to MSI. Now they're up 1-0 on Nongshim, only 2 games away from Busan. Let's send it back on over to the casters for game number 2.
Yes, Dagon, I think that they can probably smell the salty air already, letting that sea breeze hit their faces, but they still have 2 more wins they need to get in this series. As traveling to see KT win, oh my goodness, guys, come on, come on. We gotta say, like, but it's okay if they don't underneath, or something like that. You need balance.
This guy hasn't been to the LCK Live since the Rocks versus T1 finals for 2016 spring.
Oh my goodness.
And
Wait, Vitality? Hi guys, welcome.
Gamers coming here as well. Thought they were here yesterday as well. Maybe I was mistaken, but
oh man, just making sure we get as many people from all around the world to join us. It's brilliant. I wonder whether Carsten Jones having a bit of a conversation with them at this current moment. I think he probably was. It's actually very, very cute. So Team Vitality here to boot camp, as a lot of teams would, getting prepared for what comes next, right? Like this is the place to be for the best of the practice.
Every single time you have a chance to take some time off in your home region and travel to Korea, you are going to level up. It's why so many teams do it every year before MSI, before Worlds, and honestly, we'll probably see it before future first stands as well. I gotta say, Atlas, I'm worried about Nongshim's draft here going into game 2 because they used so much. Like I said, all those champions, Fearless banned above them, as well as the ones banned above KT's head. And they banned Ryze, Azir, and Sion. Perfect's like, why didn't you ban my Rumble? I'll take that, thank you very much. He's still got the Sion, so maybe you gotta ban that one away. Ryze still an issue. I think they're probably gonna ban it once again here in this first spot, but KT has a little bit more versatility, I think, coming into the second game.
I would agree. I think the Poppy is the big one. I think KT need to continue to ban that away from Gideon. He's been so good at this pick. Lehens can also play it, as we know, so a bit of flexibility there, but it will still be junglers focused down. I don't think Vi's going to get through ever, as this time the Kalista is going to be banned in the first round, was banned in the second round last time. So good, just going to get her out of there.
I wonder if Calyx is trying to angle for his own Ryze first pick here since they haven't banned it just yet.
Oh, that could be an option.
Very surprised to see that. The Pantheon is very strong with Ryze because you have double global that way. Same way it can be strong with Galio as well, even though it's not a strong mid jungle for the lane necessarily. So Nidalee is also taken away here, so really interesting set
Sion
of bans.
first pick. It's Sion first pick. That's what they're looking for there. The Sion then gets banned away, and then they get the Ryze if they want it. I actually kind of like the trap that's being set up here by Nongshim. The Azir is going to be the ban, so to make sure that they can at least get the Ryze out of this, they are just going to get rid of the Azir. It's something that Calyx has gravitated towards.
I think the Azir ban is also really strong.
Interesting.
Because you have, like, if KT lose any games in this series, they get blue side, they get to threaten that B1 Azir later on, so you get to save it. And this is going to give Perfect the Sion, of course.
Ryze, though.
And the Ryze that you mentioned is certainly available. They could go for Ahri instead if they want to draft that way, but when you already have this insane frontline of the Sion, I think you certainly can do the Ryze instead and look for more damage, as the Xin Zhao will come through. It was a blind Trundle last game. The Sejuani was not countered by the Trundle, it was picked into the Trundle.
And then was countered by the Trundle after that.
Yes, of course. Just not in draft. It was a self-counter pick, and see what the follow-up is going to be here for Nongshim Red Force. A lot of discussion from Gideon. It's going to be his jungle pick that is the focus. Wukong seems to be what they're looking for.
Yep, and Wukong has been very, very strong. Does give you a bit of extra carry potential out of the jungle there as well. Synergizes quite nicely with the Victor already.
Now, they could go a few different ways here. Like, Kingan's laughing, so you never know what it means, but I think even picking Jace into this Sion, yes, Sion kind of is a great answer. I was going to say, go for the Camille. You can go for any sort of all-in power, because you know the Ryze is coming, relatively immobile, difficult to realm warp when a Camille gets on top of you, when a Wukong is on top of you. And so, you know, this is a great way to say, look, we've got a strong matchup into the Sion, we've got some top prio, and we can shut down this Ryze that we know is coming. And they didn't go for the Jace. I thought maybe they would just say, well, I want that prio. They want something a little bit more hard engage focused.
And also a lot more 1-3-1 or 4-1 with this Camille that will be able to eat turrets in the later stages.
Which is
and
exactly
also
why
team fights. Yeah, it works.
It's exactly why the Lehens Shin ban comes out here as well, because it empowers that side lane power. As we'll see Peter's best champion this year, the Nico, taken away.
I think, you know, Braum's still available, can mess with a bunch of compositions. Maybe not necessarily Nongshim right now that just have a lot of circles and The flank angles I think Camille will find could be a bit awkward.
Even though it's a good angle for like the draft from Nongshim itself, I don't think the Neela here really fits into what KT have already. So even though I think it would be otherwise a consideration, I like this ban a lot more because the Kai'Sa is going to be able to follow up and potentially get past that Scion, dive into the back line as the front line gets kind of sent into the bouncy castle.
Yep.
As this final ban here gets a little bit interesting, you know, the Alistar is already gone. It was played in game 1 somehow miraculously. So they may look for a Duckdom ban here instead. Something like an Ezreal could otherwise be relatively safe here. Not going to be safe into the Camille, but the Camille has to go so deep to get the Ezreal that it feels like you kind of win.
I like the Braum ban. I actually kind of felt like Duckdom and Peter were angling towards like a Lucian Braum type angle.
Senna is up.
Senna is up. Oh, God. Sometimes I'm thinking about her husband instead of her.
But I mean, the Senna is
my bad.
It's kind of tough into this comp, to be honest. And you can match the scaling here with Jiu's iconic Smolder. Everyone remembers that game where Guma sniped him in the end, but he did so much heavy lifting to try to keep Nongshim's chances alive. I don't even have to say what year it is. You guys will remember that game. Opting instead for another Guma special, speaking of him, and the Caitlyn answer to the Senna.
So the Kate is going to come out. The Morgana that Lehens has already played to pretty good effect. While Peter was co-streaming, this was in that tiebreaker match that Peter, of course, was... No, it wasn't. It was the last match of the season. And Peter was making sure that he checked it out. A Seraphine Center is something that we had seen in the past. It was a different version of this, but I like it. Into Morgana, you don't want to be picking these engaged champions.
Yeah, Tom Kench, he's got such a great mastery on, and it's super good into this composition. But I kind of like the Seraphine more because it almost feels like it's a really strong lane bully, but also has a lot of rotational power and is kind of like budget Renata with the ultimate. You know, they look for the dive, you look for the charm, for the counter engage. Well, the Tom Kench will do something very different. Last time we saw Peter play this champion, we were all very concerned that it wasn't going to work, but he had an incredible level 1 engage and was able to make a big impact throughout the game. I'm worried, though, about picking Tom Kench into Caitlyn Morgana. Like, it's great for the team fights, but in the lane, it is just not going to do anything for you.
Yeah, that's why the Seraphine was hovered before. It was like, but I could contest the lane. And then they're like, well, it's Caitlyn into Senna, so you're probably not anyway. And he's like, all right, we'll sacrifice it. We'll just pick the Tom Kench, make sure that we have that for the later stages of the game. And already their top side is really strong. You look at Sion versus Camille, and you're like, but Sion's a tank. No, he's probably going to win lane. Sion's kind of broken at this point in time. The top side is very strong for KT, so I think that they can sort of let bottom lane weather the storm as best they can, sort of that old Damwon 2020 type mindset, and just hope that they can have the level of utility later in the game.
How many plates do we see for Jiu? That's the big question for me. Like, how many Caitlyn plates do they get if they leave it on an island here? And it can be bailed out a little bit by the Xinjiao, but this time around, I think the draft is both cohesive here for Nongshim, but great into KT, so I'm going to have to give them a pretty significant edge here. I think the Sion needs to weather the storm and maybe try to fight back, as BDD is going to be once again the main character on this rise.
As he always is. Let's get on to the Rift for Game 2.
미니언 생성까지 30초 남았습니다.
All right, KT fans and Nongshim fans in full voice here in LOL Park as we looked to game number 2. KT already stacked up, seeing whether anyone comes around the corner, but not going to be seen. I do like this from KT, though. They're going for the opportunistic movements.
Last time we saw the Morgana, we were not super thrilled about it. Ox, in particular, was very upset about it, and it did work because of some moves that were made by Showmaker specifically. And, you know, we know it can be quite strong into any sort of melee jungle to zone them out, keep them out of pits, for example. The Dark Binding is so incredibly powerful. And in this lane,
you deny knockups as well, and he won't be able to maneuver your AD carry into the enemy team. Some of those abilities as well.
In this lane, it kind of functions like Lux. You clear the wave really easily, and you look for bindings, or you lose trade at level 1.
Yep, might just get shot a lot, which is what's happening right now. But I still think that, Lehens and Gio are going to have so much fun in this lane.
Oh, they should.
In the early game.
They absolutely should. As the Senna is not going to be able to fight back against the Caitlyn early. And Caitlyn is the pushing bottom laner, the marksman that can chip away at any melee support, especially if those hit.
Yeah, nice shot there, though. Nice dodge, sorry. Move out of the way of Juice. Peacemaker. Stockdom looking to do his very best, picking up these souls as often as possible. Got to try and stack that one up as best he can. Try and match this Caitlyn's range as soon as possible. It's going to be one of the difficulties.
Yeah, and you got to do as best as you can to try to secure all the farm that you can as your minions are constantly trying to push those of the enemy away from the turret. You can see a lot of these missed here.
Yeah.
Very tricky to see us this under turret, but he did a decent job.
And also, like, Senna's auto attack is just so weird. I know that our pro player is definitely better at it than I am. I just find, like, it's so frustrating. I loved her as, like, a champion, like, the idea and, like, the way she works and stuff like that, but man,
when you use
bothers me.
She's shooting a gun, right? But it feels like she's swinging a baseball bat.
Yeah, right? That's kind of how it feels.
Yeah, it's very weird. But they're trading back actually pretty well in this lane.
Yeah, it's sort of working. I mean, still, the minions
you put the pool down, you know, Caitlyn Qs, and then she just shoots every minion, and then the wave continues to push through. But holding their own here and not losing too much damage on the turret. As, yeah, you mentioned Sion is kind of in an insane spot right now, and with Grasp trades incredibly well and is actually crushing early this Camille.
Yep. Does miss a bit of CS in this lane as, yeah, Kingen is just going to have to continue taking Qs, you could imagine.
Yeah, I noticed, you know, in the previous game, Perfect was happy to even drop a cannon to get like 20% of Kingen's health. He was very aggressively trading, and he's going to do the same here as we have that early lane swap here for the Caitlyn and Morgana, which is kind of a concern that you're not staying with that one there on the bottom side, because...
Oh, he might have to flash.
He will.
As Lehens does throw out the Dark Binding pretty early, and still continuing to move on over here, as Camille going to take an opportunity to head back, and will rotate down towards this bottom side as Nongshim, the early swap happening once again.
It feels very weird at this timing, because Grubs are so far away, right? To just concede the Caitlyn lane into the Senna and just let that go and then play Camille into it. I feel like Duckdom is like, what? Okay, yeah. I'm happy to hit a turret. Am I allowed to hit a turret at 4.5 minutes?
I think it's a little bit like, perfect, what have you been doing to the Camille on that top side of the map?
And now can't even get back to the turret easily.
Yeah, this is, at least Hookshot is available, and so Kingen able to move himself up towards getting at least the caster minions in that wave, as KT will hold this one and keep Kingen locked underneath this turret as best they can. The Piercing Darkness being very annoying. Hextech Sweep will be able to lock down the cannon there for Kingen.
Anyone who did see the lane swap meta that occurred for a very long time throughout last year can attest to that Sion is not going to have fun into the Caitlyn lane there on his own either, but it's great for Senna.
That's all right. BDD immediately flashing out of the way of Gideon. He doesn't have the Cyclone as Cuz looking to make his way in Audacious Charge to try and block as Calyx in such an awkward spot has to flash himself as BDD trying to hold Gideon at arm's length, making sure the Nimbus Strike not going to be able to get him. You can see that Cuz going to get locked down by the Gravity Well, and KT, no first bloods or anything like that, but they do manage to stave off the gang.
Do you remember when Willer played on Hanwha Life Esports and he was just like Chovy's bodyguard? I feel like in the early game of both of these games, Cuz is like, don't worry, I'm always there for you. Just staved so much pressure off here for BDD. BDD did have to flash, but Calyx having to flash in return does not feel great.
Probably wouldn't have needed to, right? They could have got the flash and then sort of backed away. I think they saw the kill angle as perfect. A lot of physical damage in the kit of the Scion. The Q doing that, so not going to be able to break through a Black Shield very comfortably. Still fine. As BDD here in this mid lane going to be pushing this one out. First Drake going to go down. Next one is a Mountain. We could have like 5 in a row.
The fact that Sion can just deal with this Camille so well that it's a Caitlyn that buys a Cull as a Senna lanes into a Camille with Tom Kench 2v1 in the bottom lane makes me feel like even though the draft felt so great for Nongshim, they're just not getting the mileage out of it that they wanted to in this early game. Caitlyn is going to freely push into the Sion for sure, so she's getting kind of what she wanted either way, but the Senna is just chilling. Part of the Caitlyn pushes in and gets, you know, value and tries to put plates away is taking gold away from the Senna, pushing her away, threatening dives there that with Wukong as your jungler, you can't really threaten dives until 6, and I guess this is Nongshim's way of getting what they wanted in a roundabout way, but if I'm KT, I feel pretty good about how this early game has gone.
Yeah, I think it's kind of okay, right? I don't think that Nongshim have really hit their power spike yet with what this composition is capable of, because it's probably going to lose out on this Bramble back. Will do so as the Arcane Storm comes down in the mid lane. Calyx is going to be pushing BDD out of this lane once again.
Good vision there from Gideon. Knows exactly where Cuz is. Tracking this well. Perfect is coming down.
Oh yeah, Perfect. Let's see whether he can get an angle here, as he might actually want to get the train out. Dark Binding connects onto Cuz. He does manage to take his Raptor as Gideon moves into the brush. Warrior Trickster's going to be up, and there is the Black Shield, which is so powerful.
Perfect.
Okay,
Flashing.
Perfect. Flashes over the wall. To follow a Warrior Trickster. I don't know about that one necessarily, and doesn't really do anything with the ulti either.
I think I do know about that one, and I think it probably wasn't the right call.
All right.
And I think you did too, but it's, you know, sometimes that's a caster safety term.
Maybe it
we don't know.
caused Calyx to miss that cannon just then, because he was also so confused.
Yeah, could be. That was the inner thinking.
The
on that one.
orchestrated -1.
Yeah, well, that was a little bit weird. Perfect is going to head down to the bottom lane, but he also used his ult in that skirmish, so won't be able to ult to catch this wave like he probably initially planned when they were going to swap back.
Oh, BDD holding Calyx in place for now, as Lehen's looking for a Dark Binding angle, but Phase Rush is one heck of an ability. And that's going to deny it. Cuz moving over, wants to be able to steal away some of these grubs. That's Gideon locking down the second one. As the Crescent Guard going to have to be flashed there as the Snap Trap goes down. Nongshim still looking for more as the teleport comes in from Kingin. I don't know about the teleport, but they
got BDD's
managed
TP
to get the grubs.
And Perfect, unfortunately, though, for Nongshim is going to get some alone time with this turret. They're looking for Duck Dom.
Yep, hookshot comes down. Hextech Ultimatum coming on in there as Peter wanting to try and keep his AD carry alive, and the sidesteps, beautiful. The barrier barely even necessary as the Cyclone gets a quad knock-up. He gets into that backline. Doc Dom is now going to have to flash as, oh my god, he's so close to dead. They got another auto, but it wasn't enough. The Dawning Shadow to try and save the rest of his teammates, and Nongshim is solo. Calyx moving over, though the Death Ray is so scary. And Doc Dom brings everyone into the mist. BDD going to be able to soak up the ace in the hole, and there is no Scion here, but it looks like KT going to be okay without him for now.
I feel like maybe they didn't know BDD had TP top because he TP'd off of Vision, but they started to force the play anyways, but they could have actually just looked to get plates in the mid lane for Calyx, but they stuck around here, and Alice is pretty awkward for the side of Nongshim because they brought, 5 people top side, and then Perfect got 2 plates on the bottom side. He was just chilling. Thanks for the TP, Camille. And you can see BDD unseen here, so yeah, I think they just didn't know that BDD was here, thought this was going to be a really winnable fight, but Duck Dom, man, could he have played this better? Dodges that as well, has the barrier instantly, and then this is a great turn from Gideon. Duck Dom just barely survives your flash to the last possible second, kites back here, gets a little bit of healing.
The flash from Gio, but then the heal comes through. Oh my god.
And then the ult comes out, and it's shocking that in this 5v4, no one dies with these health bars, some of them sub 200. And BDD eats the ult, but Perfect gets the plates on the bottom side and is able to take a small gold lead over this Camille as a result. Otherwise, small leads here for Nongshim in the bottom lane, which is expected.
Yeah.
Just not because the Caitlyn was laning into the center, though, weirdly enough.
And I don't know whether the CS gap between the center and the Caitlyn is quite enough to make Nongshim feel comfortable.
No, I don't really think so.
It's still 10, it's still decent, but the Caitlyn really wants to be accelerating, getting those plates as much as possible. It's not quite happening just yet. Peacemaker coming on down from Jiu. This is not necessarily like the classic Jiu champion, as we know. Like, it's things like Neela and Zeri that he really does like, but his Caitlyn has been all right in the past.
Duck Dom doesn't have Shiv yet. Oh, Peter's looking for a gank.
Oh dear, we don't find the snare. Hookshot does come on down. The exhaust, though, Peter wanting to commit to this one as he gets the gobble and takes another turret shot. Don't know about that one, but still going to find a tongue lash, and the knock-up not quite going to work out. Kingin still looking for it, but does not get it. Peter stays alive, and that is first blood going over to Doc Dom. Disaster scenario for Nongshim.
Yeah, now Perfect does have his ultimate here, but no flash. They may look for a counter dive. BDD coming up, though, with Realm Worm at the ready. I just don't think they can commit. They know that Ryze could be there at a moment's notice, so Perfect defends top side. They get the win in the bottom lane with that late swap to mid because Duck Dom didn't have Shiv, wanted to get it first. Then they end up getting a kill in the bottom lane, get the dragon, and there's no cross-map opportunity here because of that Realm Warp that BDD still holds. They see him, they ping him as he walks over this ward. And honestly, even Gideon being here is a little bit greedy.
Well, Gideon is going to find BDD, just trying to stop him from heading towards that top side, but oh my god, really? Come on, 5 in a row.
I'm telling you, man,
Absolutely
it's gotta be
absurd.
bugged.
It's got to be a bug. So now the Scion going to be very happy about that. I think now the team should really be drafting towards Chemtech Soul, because that seems to be what's happening every time. Like, Ox, dude, are you even here? Are you in the chat?
I mean, Senna's got some healing.
Yeah, I mean, that is true. That is definitely true.
I mean, look at this play here from Peter as it's a greedy trade from Kingen. Doesn't have vision here. The root doesn't even land, but it doesn't matter. So he has the exhaust because he has unsealed spellbook here. Goes for the Devour, eats that turret shot, gets the heal.
Yep, and has his own healing in the kit as well. I mean, Tom Kench also loves Chemtech Soul. And
the kill goes obviously over to the Senna. So she's got Shiv now. She's back in the mid lane. And for Nongshim fans, this is not the start you wanted with this draft. Yeah, I mean, it's only one kill, but it's just where the money is across the board that's so concerning. The fact that the Senna is so close to the Caitlyn.
And this is also like such a comfy late game draft from KT as well. It is literally like protect the president, stand behind the brick wall, and just mow down turrets. Doctarm is going to have infinite range later on. He's sort of got it already as he does walk towards you there in a little bit of a dangerous fashion. But it's item completed versus like that pathetic slingshot and a decently sized sword. Like it's Doctarm having full control on a champion that infinitely scales.
Yeah. The fact that the Scion has Sunfire and is just chilling into this Camille that's hookshotting away, you add all these things up, and there's not really any good news for Nongshim. Now, the one other part about this Senna pick, before we even saw the Caitlyn, that worried me was you're playing Senna into Wukong Camille, right? So that's kind of hard. That's a little bit challenging. You know, we always got to keep your eyes on whether Doctarm has flash or not, where he's positioned. It gets easier the more range he has, but the mid game is certainly going to be decently weak. If you could see a good engage from Kingen, from Gideon when those ults are available. But he has Tom Kench with him, you know, and that makes it a little bit easier. He can just be devoured, and also BDD can keep them at bay with some good roots as well on this rise.
We have some added information as well, Wolf. I need to let everyone know that it's Chronicler's fault. It's not necessarily Orcs' fault.
Oh, really?
It's Chronicler's fault. So I'll just leave it at that. We might have some confirmation, but yeah, just so you know, it's his bad. Okay, BDD going to be pushing towards Calyx, who feels the need to ult to get him out of here. Felt like maybe there was a dive incoming. We do know that Peter was in the area. As Lahen's moving on up, Calyx will be able to clear out this control ward. Peter continuing to be frustrating. Dark Binding connecting as Cuz standing on top of a ward right now.
Okay, Doctarm also seen on the ward. They know he's coming up here. Let's see what Nongshim decide to do.
Oh, BDD still in that brush, finds the Rune Prison. And yeah, the Black Shield not really going to last when there is BDD in the area. Cuz gets the knock-up, Calyx goes down. The root! Oh, the root is so incredibly good as Gideon is cycloning his way out as the Realm Warp going to be deterred just a little bit with that great Dark Binding from Lahen's trying to buy some space. But here comes the train. That's half of Jiu's health bar from a tank. What the heck? He's going to have to flash as Perfect was tanking the turret for about 600 years. Peter coming on over to try and save his Scion. Hextech Ultimatum comes down. Jiu going to get knocked up into the sky. Well, not knocked up, just cut down. As the Black Shield not going to save him from that damage.
Is just doing Dragon. BDD drops, pushes a wave into a turret. Nongshim going to drop that one. And suddenly this game here at 15.5 minutes feels like we're already watching late game Senna Scion. And we're not quite through the mid game just yet. And that's a bit of a worrying sign here for how this game is going to play out. Pretty insane as they just outplay that fight.
Well, BDD does stun himself by staying on the gravity field. I'm not sure about that one. Still, just going... Oh, he picked up the pedal. So that is 10 points to BDD. Let's have a look at this one more time.
I mean, Peter has TP, by the way, which is why he makes that call to go mid right after this. They bring a trap, right? BDD is here, and Cuz is going to get the follow-up here. Doctarm also doing so much work, gets the root here onto the Wukong, goes for the chase. Gideon makes the right call with the Realm Warp going between him and Lahen's to go down. It's definitely the right move. Then you see that TP collapse from Peter on the Tom Kench. They look for Jiu here, who actually ends up losing like half his health bar from the Scion ult alone. But is able to kite things back here because of the double turret. But they get Kingen's TP as well. And look at this move here from Peter. Never going to let his top laner down. He supports his whole team, not just his AD carry. Yeah, and look at this, like the Black Shield value, definitely there. But the fact that KT can just kite it out, heal it up, and still end up winning out on that exchange is pretty insane.
Wait. Oh, okay, yeah. So here is the confirmation. This is what I was talking about before.
Oh,
Thank you
no.
very much, G-Sun. As we had the transition, you can see he was paying attention to the board game. Arx is a great game, right? It's really nice. We are going to be having a bit of focus on the game here as Jew in a little bit of trouble. Hens comes in with the flash heal to keep him alive. But Cuz still in the area.
Okay, hold up. Cuz?
Yeah, looking for an angle. Realm Warp to come down here as the BDD Peter special delivery gets him right on top of them. Doctom to take down Lahens. Jiu's health bar is non-existent, and Kingin, he has hookshot. That's one heck of an ability, but BDD locks down. The Dawning Shadow blind takes down the Caitlyn, and the train's like, where are my customers? No one's ready to take a ride. They're on the death chamber.
They already died! KT! This is insane! The leads we are seeing, the early game we are seeing, I think a little bit of a flub from Nongshim in some elements of this game, but KT are just on form right now. They're going to get the soul point of the Chemtech Soul, because as I was going to mention, Chronicler's just, I guess he's the one who wants Chemtech Soul. We figured it out.
Yeah, he loves Chemtech Soul, man.
Baited Ox into a card game. Ox wasn't even paying attention to the game. It was clearly on screen behind him when that soul came through. So, you look at moments like this, and it's like, the Hens and crew are moving down. You know, Jiu is here alone, and there's so much range. Like,
as well.
I mean, I can give credit to KT for how they played this, but also, I think Nongshim looking for an aggressive play where they didn't have vision on the other side of the map. Like, who were they trying to catch? BDD, I suppose, but they just left Jiu alone. And the skirmish happens where, like we said, just so much sustain here, so much chasing power, because Peter either teleports behind you or he just abyssals behind you. He just
I was going to say, was that actually, did they Realm Warp in Peter Abyssal voyaging like the perfect, like,
remember
that was really cute.
Remember when Abyssal was actually a global? Peter's kind of making it feel like it still is.
Yeah, it's Abyssal Voyage. He went on Abyssal Voyage that time instead of just the dive. That's really, really cool. Not that I have anything against the dive. It's a great show. As Gideon now just going to trickster his way over the wall.
Every time I see more members of Nongshim fishing for something, they fail, and then I see KT are getting value side lane. It's perfect half the time, but Duckdom here as well, just free stacking souls. Here, the break point we always talk about that's kind of essential if you really want to have a great Senna game is to hit 60 at 20 minutes. Like, he's just 4 stacks away from that with 40 seconds to go. And he already has 3 kills, so, you know, stacks be damned. I don't know if he really cares if even it was a little slow this game, and it wasn't. Perfect is also flanking Jiu.
Like from inside his base. Yeah, he's just going to drive a train into him. Black Shield working out very well there for the Scion solo engage.
KT have dropped 2 grubs.
Yeah.
Like, from the LCK Global caster opinion, it's perfect gameable.
Oh god!
Because they didn't get the whole 3. Although I guess 2 out of 3 on the new patch.
I mean, technically, it is kind of.
It is an objective. Never mind. It's not. No, it's not. Not a perfect game.
I don't really like it. Anyway, Perfect is moving in. Soul Furnace explodes for so much damage. Lahens in so much trouble here. As Doctom, he finds it with that last auto, then flashes on top of Jiu. Doctom is out of control today. As he's flashing forward, going for these big plays. Kingin looking to try and deny that theoretical pseudo-perfect game. And it's the Scion that's going to look to stop it. Otacon on the menu here for KT, and there it is. Kingin is just going to ruin the debate forever, as taking a turret is definitely going to take the perfect game away.
I mean, they're losing this Otacon, though. At least he got some bounty gold for his team, I suppose, as Gideon is trying to catch this mid-wave as a jungler, as the enemy team is doing Otacon. If that doesn't show you the game state, I don't know what will. Fans at home, I think a lot of people probably looking at that 5,000 gold lead, and they think that's the real story, but it's a center comp with a Scion that's 1,400 gold ahead with BDD on Rise. He hasn't even finished his Rod of Ages yet. We've got 3 minutes to go on that one. As it's crazy how
God, the Roar of the Slayer value is absurd as well.
Perfect is playing Scion, but it feels like he's playing Camille because he just keeps catching the 80 carry over and over and over again with his kit, and there's just no escape for Jiu, man. He's been targeted this game, and Perfect is finding angles. He had a great laning phase. KT feels like everyone is firing on full cylinders. Everyone is playing at their very best, because we've seen weeks where Perfect wasn't, right? He even had casting sub in form. Duckdom early in the season as well. Everyone was saying this is the weakest AD carry in the LCK. It's just not the case right now. He's having an incredible Senna game. He had a great Varus game last game around.
Yep.
And then Cuz and BDD are playing both at their full form. They both had their rocky moments. They've been the most consistent parts of this. And Peter, you know, so there were some weird Alistair moments, but he has had such a glow up from round 2 onward, and it's not just Nico. It felt like for a while, it's like, well, he can play Nico really well. Now he's playing Alistair well, he's playing Tom Kench well, and he's like the only one who's playing Tom Kench.
Yeah, he's also, it's like the vibes, man. Like, so Peter was good enough even when he wasn't playing all that well, just because having Peter on your team is such an incredible buff to the mental. He's still that, but he's also good. Like, it's almost unfair. He almost has too many stats, you know? That's how I sort of think about it. They divvied up too many stats towards Peter. Too powerful now.
I thought after watching yesterday's series that there wasn't going to be another best of 5 that could be anywhere close to as one-sided, but KT said, hold my keyboard.
Yeah, they did. Not that Peter even needs a keyboard. I was listening yesterday, and apparently he just clicks everything, and it's all just fine. As that's 2 turrets going down on the top side of the map. KT kind of milling about in the meantime here towards the bottom lane, as they do get the crash in the bottom lane as well. But that is a lot of objective bounties going over, and the gold lead isn't massive.
Ooh, TP flank here as well from Calyx.
Oh, we were perhaps getting too enthusiastic, as never mind. Perfect's on a pretty good angle here, but so is King and Calyx alongside him. But can they get to the rest of the team before they're all dead? Gideon moving over. Lehens is out of the fight already, and Gio is going absolutely nowhere. Gideon splashed in. Kingen gonna get knocked away momentarily, but the Devour keeps Doctom alive. The teleport in, Cuz trying to escape. As the Hextech ultimatum's down onto him, as Kingen trying to get out. He will do so. And BDD is looking to try and kill Calyx and then kill Kingen immediately afterwards. And look, he succeeded.
I mean, KT, even when it looks like maybe they've been caught, maybe they've overextended. I mean, they weren't getting a ton of value in their pushes. 2 turrets went down, tons of bounty gold. The teleport flank is a bust, and I think this game may just be at the beginning of its end.
Oh dear. There is the dodge from Doctom, and yeah, once he's shot him once, he is just dead.
I mean, he's practically gotten 20 stacks in the last 3 minutes here, and that's the inhibitor to go over to KT as they get yet another Chemtech Soul.
Okay.
So is there a correlation between Chemtech Souls and KT winning? Because so far it's been 100% accurate, you know? Every time we get Chemtech Soul, KT wins the game. And, you know, they're winning the game in this one very hard, Atlas.
They really are.
The fact that Gio is just constantly being killed by Sion in this game means that they just have no control whatsoever. He's just trying to farm. He's trying to be Caitlyn. He's trying to get out of the trough. I just don't know if there is a way out of the trough in this one.
And also, he's a Caitlyn trying to fight with 3 people trying to flank at the same time.
No,
and so he's just by himself. Has Lehens, but Lehens was chunked out and taken out of the fight immediately.
Because he did get ulted and died, but I think he gave his life for the good of the colony.
He didn't want them to get a kill. I don't think.
Yeah.
That's what the problem was. I'm pretty sure Doctom was just like, yep. Not feeling too enthused as Lehens. Yeah, he is. He's trying to walk his way out. They do have the Gravity Well, and the Dark Binding is decent, but oh god, there's too many KT members. And Perfect is fighting against Kingen, and Kingen is opting out, as you understandably would.
Yeah, Perfect ulted there as well. Tried to stop the hook shot, but was unsuccessful. But he's like, I'm just going to kill Gio again. That's what I want to do.
Yep. He's going to look for that one. In the meantime, KT are doing 17 things at once. There's a flash forward from Peter wanting to lock down Gideon, but the Abyssal Dive still on cooldown for the next little while.
KT are making Nongshim look like they're like an 8th place, 9th place team in the LCK right now. Like they are looking
I was like, is DNF actually in Road to MSI? As it turns out,
DNF played closer games than this, to be honest.
Oh, that's actually true. Didn't they go to 3 last time they met? I don't know whether that is the case, but it certainly felt like we haven't seen KT obliterate someone like this in at least 20 hours.
Yeah. Perfect is probably fine.
Yeah, no, he's fine. He's never going to die. BDD might. Never mind. He's got Doctom. He's a healer. And Lehens is really dead. Calyx is going to have to meet Cuz here as well, who charged up the knockup. And there it is.
Just in there suffering, KT. I can't watch any more of this.
Yeah, this is so
This is actually painful.
It's 9,000 gold the lead at 26 minutes. They won the game at 28 minutes in game number 1. As Peter dives his way out of there, Kingen going to try and take him down. They're going to look to ignore the Sion, which might be a good strategy. They'll turn, though, as Gio able to pump some shots into him. The ultimate just back up now, and Perfect into them. He's absolutely insane, charging up the Q, but Jiu's able to kite this one out. This is taking way too long, guys. It's kind of absurd as he eats a cupcake and now looks for more. What are we doing, KT? What was that? They're winning the game.
Perfect. Oh, the trap.
Oh, the trap, but he had Soul Furnace anyway. He wasn't going to die, but KT is still going to win this game. It is match point now, and KT, this roller coaster has turned into a missile.
I have seen very few things like this across my career. And when we talk about playoffs, this is a road to MSI. This is not playoffs, right? This is not even technically the LCK. But like the amount of times I've seen one-sided games like this on professional player, like at international tournaments like WCG, where it's like South Korea versus the guy who came from South Africa, who isn't even like in Masters League. You know, like this is something else, man. And Nongshim came in as the higher seed, and not one analyst predicted them to win because KT looked like a different team than they were in regular season. They have all the momentum right now. Nongshim, lost to D+ there in the end in that final game, which I think affected a lot of people's opinions, but KT are just smashing their way to Busan, man. Like, right now, 5 games in a row, and a majority of them extremely one-sided. This is about as big of a glow-up as you could ever get. Like, I cannot even overstate how this was barely a game of League of Legends past 10 minutes. Like, this is one of the most one-sided games I've ever seen. Like, in a playoffs, like, yeah, you could have this in regular season. We've seen Gen G do this to teams. We've seen Gen G do this to Bro. But we haven't seen KT do this to a team that's actually technically only 1 seed higher than them in a gauntlet. I don't know, Atlas.
This is kind of ridiculous.
The roller coaster can't go higher.
It can't, so maybe the reverse sweep is on the cards. Remember, it is a best of 5. Nongshim not down and out just yet, but they're really going to have to start picking up their keyboard and mouse in this series. Break time when we get back to space. Going to break it down, and then we'll have game number 3. We'll see whether Nongshim can give us a series.
이거
미드 가자 그러면.
네, 노플이거든. 캡틴 나 캡틴 좋다.
나 피해봐.
좀만 채워줘. 오, 지금 끊었고. 나 캡틴 쪽할까 이거?
들어간다 우리.
따라봐.
라이즈도 뒤에만 있던지.
일로 오면 표대.
라이즈 힐 해줘.
끝낼게 전에 알아서 시간 포기 그냥.
라이즈 힐 해줘.
야 놀아. 네네네 괜찮아. 이긴 거 같아. 와줄래? 한번 더 줘. 너 알아서 해봐.
오케이. 얘도 저기서 즐긴다.
야 손시우 죽일래 이거? 나 공유로 미니언 갈게.
오케이 좋은데?
오케이 좋다. 와 너무 좋은데?
일단 밀고.
타워
뒤에
좀
다
많이 쳐고. 됐어 마이트 거의 다 잡았냐?
가자. 고고고.
가가.
아니 수은을 나 너무. 야 어디 숨어 있어?
야 이 자식아.
이 자식아 이리 와. 이 자식아.
나 때려줘 제발. 제발 때려줘.
아 죽일래 말래.
아야 기다려. 밥 드려.
ends like this. When I think I'm healing, if I had one wish, could you save me from my feelings? Chemicals can't fix all these wounds that I'm concealing. I'm lost in light and sound. I need you to hold me down. Baby, won't you give me a sign? Oh, I need you to. Just go when they turn on the lights, I'll run back to you. One touch and you're getting me high, oh, tell me it's true. Find me at the end of the night, I'll run back to you. Always ends like this. Taste of something stronger, dancing on my lips. Now I'm falling 10 feet under. Try to drown it out, but I'm swimming in deep water, fading in and out. I need you to hold me now. Baby, won't you give me a sign? Oh, I need you to. Just go when they turn on the lights, I'll run back to you. One touch and you're getting me high, oh, tell me it's true. Find me at the end of the night, I'll run back to you.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the space. And in the words of KT, wow, it is 2-0 by KT. They are dominating so far, and I'm feeling quite delighted, enthusiastic, eager, hysterical. How about you, Valdez?
Yes, I am pretty exhilarated and also feeling pretty enraptured by their play so far today.
Yeah. I mean, you can just say excited.
Oh, no! What did?
He doesn't get it.
He doesn't get it. He doesn't get it. Look at that guy. Look at that guy. All right, well, let's take a look at the last game. Again, game number 2. We better draft here for Nongshim, but they wanted to snowball this late game composition very, very hard, not quite able to.
It just feels like the Caitlyn Morgana, we were not big fans of that one, what did, especially the Morgana. It doesn't feel like a good answer into the Senna. You're leaving R5 for the Tahm Kench. It's perfect for Peter. He played it so well. And also, Victor Wukong.
Well,
what's going on here,
well, listen.
What's going on?
As a bot laner, I want to play Caitlyn Morgana.
Okay.
It's one of the best lane harassing combination on the bot lane. But I don't want my mid jungle to be a Victor Wukong hovering bot side. I want something really strong in the early game. I want something that you can pressure in the early game, helps like dive into the bot lane. But I feel like Victor, Wukong, and Camille, they can't do anything. Like, they don't help me like pushing the bot lane, they pressuring bot lane, you know. So I feel like their picks are just not synergizing well each other's. And also, enemy team has Sion. And I'm Sion lover. This champion is just broken, you know?
Sion lover, I think BDD as well on the rise. You gave that over essentially for free. You gave the Xinjiao as well over Cuz, right? You just have so much global pressure, and KT are just running you around the map. It wasn't even close.
Yeah, they were. Let's take a look at the highlight here, though, from the early game for KT. You can see Nongshim attempting at the grubs to try and make a play, but KT able to hold off.
Yeah, I mean, here's what I'm saying. Like, you are playing Caitlyn Morgana, so you want to do something in the early game, but I don't want my Camille to TP to the top lane when he has no items. You know what? Camille is late game champion, late game value champion, so I want my Camille to just farm on the bot lane and just chill out. Yeah. But this is happening and it's not even working out.
It's just so forced, right? I mean, they send King in, they ult, and then they do it again with their jungler, right? Gideon tries to go in on the Wukong, and Duckdom, he's got the fancy feat today. Insane, you know, he gets the shield, or rather the heal right at the very end.
Look at the ball lane!
And they just overextend. And meanwhile, Sion's getting free plates, he's getting free XP, he's totally catching up to Camille. Did very well in the early game, and they didn't even get the kill.
What can he do? Victor is here, Camille is here, Wukong is here. But they just wanted to farm, but they are trying to snowball for the the Caitlyn Morgana, but it's not working out. So that's how I feel from their team comp here.
Yeah, update from Lore, who says in chat, Wadidi is now on his list. As we take a look at highlight number 2, where KT look pretty good still. Here in the mid lane, you get to see the power of this composition.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't start out very well, obviously, right? I mean, you just kind of essentially dies for free, doesn't immediately, but you don't have a Caitlyn anymore. And trying to match the Caitlyn, who, by the way, was trying to 1v2 in the beginning of this, into the Senna is not working well. And again, BDD sets up the play, you know, comes in with the Rune Prison, is right there on time. You've also got the Tom Kench to engage, and...
Why my Camille is here?
Yeah, I don't know.
I said my Camille! I want my Camille to farm on the side lane. Zip! Can you get the items? Can you actually push the side lane? Can you actually pressure Sion?
Did you see that, you know, the Senna ult hits, actually, Jiu, but also Perfect's coming in from the other angle on Sion? It's just, oh, man. KT are just on another level right now.
This is just disaster. You know, I mean, I already mentioned that they had great draft plan in the game 1, but I feel like they didn't like have a great plan against KT comp. But the game 2, I don't even feel like they have great comp around like their champions, you know. I don't feel like they have a great champion around Caitlyn Morgana. So I feel like, again, they have to fix the draft, but also whenever we talk about their players, Lihans and Calix, I feel like those two players have to step up, especially Lihans, one of the playmaker for Nongshim. And I feel like Calix, he was the reason why Nongshim got a lot stronger. His solid performance in the mid lane helped a lot for Nongshim to just build around the early game. But I feel like those two are not having a great game today.
Yeah, Calix was brought in to provide the stability, and then playmaking has been the side of Lehens, but I feel like you haven't gotten either one. BDD's been able to take over the game, and Lehens has had some terrible, terrible runs of luck here in game 1 and 2.
Yeah, it's been an issue. I think that the drafts, we can talk about it all day. Like, Nongshim losing draft twice on blue side is a big issue, but also the execution is not there, right? Like you're talking about a lot of forced plays, not really playing around what their composition does in the first place is a big issue, whereas KT, you know, they benefited so much from the run that they've had so far. It's kind of hard to stop this train, to stop this roller coaster right now.
Yeah, all right, Wadidi, you are now on Nongshim's side. What do you do here? What do you draft here? Because it feels like you need anything. You need something to hold on to.
It's a really difficult question.
Come on, Wadid.
Oh my god, that's really rough. Man, guys, you guys can do it, man. Just show me something.
Wait, I said, what are we drafting? And you're giving me an inspirational speech?
I feel like I have to do the inspiration speech. That's all, you know. I don't know what to do, man. All they have to do is to have some confidence.
All right. Well, you heard it here from Coach Wadidi.
You can do it.
Have some confidence.
Do something. Please!
All right. Well, we'll see what happens here. Again, one game away from Busan. KT, will they be able to do it? Or will the Noodle Boys be able to battle back?
All right, don't worry, we did. I've got it. I figured it out, and I was helped by the fan sign that we just saw before. What they need to do is they need to collect the Dragon Balls, and then they get the wish with Shenron to get them to win the game. That's what they can do.
But then they have to find them like 2 more times to get the wish to win game 4 and 5.
Yeah, and they need to do it on a different planet because there's a cooldown, isn't there? Something like that. Yeah. That's why they went to Namek in the first.
Other fan sign.
I'm not quite sure.
The other fan sign was making it look a little bit more doomed. I saw the Damwon brackets. We're feeling ill on the roller coaster, and the Nuggery was throwing up on the KT roller coaster. So
it's not quite it.
I'm worried for Nongshim here, but I think a ban on the Yorick does make sense. It's been one of the other champions that Perfect has really pushed towards here in round 2 onward. The Vi is just a permanent fix. Remember, KT, by the way, if they win this 3rd game, there'll be 6 in a row, and they've done it 3 times in this series on red side.
Yep.
Just to put that into perspective.
And twice in the last series on red side as well, right? They started off on blue, but then DK lost a whole bunch of times. So this is a lot of red side practice for KT, and they're making it look like their preferred side right now, as Cuz's Nidalee is going to be taken away, something that he has found so much success on. And I think the Nidalee ban actually helps stop BDD from playing Corki as well, which he's really good at.
Ban Azir here, right? And call it a day, like, and see what the first pick is going to come out as.
I imagine that could be something like that, and there it is.
So what's the prio pick here now? For the side of Nongshim Red Force, maybe an Ahri draft, because the Pantheon gets left open this time, so
that makes some sense.
There's a lot of different ways you can play around this global here, I mean, if they want to. They don't have Camille Galio, sadly, because Camille's gone already, but if it's a strong matchup for the Galio in the mid lane, perhaps that could be an angle here. It's KT on the other side. BDD doesn't have to make his choice right now. Actually gonna look for the Renekton, even with that ban on the Nidalee.
Yeah, Renekton coming in. This could be a Cuz Lilia angle, but instead they are going to lock in the Ahri for BDD.
I mean, Ahri plus Pantheon is super strong, so they want to deny that. I think that's a wise call here from the side of KT Rolster. And the Renekton feels pretty safe blind, and with the performances we're seeing from Perfect across this series, I feel like you can kind of trust that. I wouldn't have trusted that from Perfect in round 1, but I feel pretty good about it here in this series. As Calyx will drop the Annie mid as the pool gets thinned out further. Pretty strong with the Pantheon.
Yep, not too bad. Has been adjusted a little bit on this patch, but it is like, what, W damage down, armor up, something like that.
Yeah, it's
not entirely sure whether it's done too much.
Not really a change of how it operates in Pro. A little bit weaker laning phase, arguably, but... And honestly, not even that much.
Yeah, and paired alongside a Pantheon, you're still going to find a whole lot of value as the Elise will be finally priority picked for Lehens.
This feels like Lehens is just playing what he wants, and that's often a good thing.
Yeah.
But it's very early in this draft and very blind and face up here, so it does allow KT Rolster to draft their bottom side around it. So we do see the Nocturne being considered here instead of the Viego. Thought with Cuz's proficiency on the Viego, he'd be looking for that here, but a lot of ways to lock down Paperman and not allow him to play the game. So going for the Nocturne, which has been so strong in team fights and objective fights where you just turn the lights off and make it so difficult for even Annie to set up that stun or set up that flank because she can't see where the targets are. Feels pretty good.
Can certainly work.
And he can just spell shield her stun if he plays it well.
I feel like KT don't have the same level of synergy that we've seen in the last couple of team comps that they put together in the first 3 picks, but these are still strong picks. We're moving later and later into Fearless Draft, and so more and more options have been removed. Now going to be taken away here from Kingen.
I think the Jax will probably be the final ban here from KT because it works really well with the Pantheon and can be a strong match with the Gwen as they once again target Peter on this Nico, which is great into the Elise as well.
Yep. I was wondering about the Aatrox situation.
Aatrox also a fine ban. I would agree with that. I think both of those picks pretty smart here to ban away from Kingen. You never know what Kingen's going to do. He has quite an unusual champion pool, but he does normally stick to the basics, especially in a game like this.
Ooh,
and the Kai'Sa instead.
I actually thought that Kai'Sa might fit the KT comp.
Yeah, I actually kind of thought
they just
so
take
too.
it away.
Yeah, it allows them to go a little bit more all-in on dive. Can be a tough lane into whatever Geo is playing with this Elise, though. So I guess that's part of why they decide to ban it.
Ah, it's an Ezreal angle.
It's
why
certainly,
they take it away.
I think that's what they're angling for here, but it can just be banned in this final spot.
Do they decide to do that? Because, of course, you know, Brom's still something that they might want to consider.
Xayah
can have a fair bit of value as there's the Lucian takeaway.
Xayah also feels pretty decent here for KT with their composition that's kind of dive-focused. And you do end up getting to control the pace of those fights, and the low range doesn't necessarily matter. So they pick the Xayah. And Gio has been known to be a strong Zeri player who can clean up team fights. When he gets to the Supreme late game, like he has carried quite a few of these, but it doesn't have that much power with this Elise necessarily in the lane.
Yeah.
There are a lot of other picks. I like the Ezreal way more for what it does for this draft.
I think nameplate's off. I think the Ezreal does fit. I think Gio trying... Oh, okay, that's a cannon locked in against the Renekton. This is something that we have seen many times in the past. It's a tale as old as time as far as top lane matchups are concerned. King going to try his hand at it when it's been mainly Zeus playing it this season as the Xayah Rakan, the obvious lock-in.
I think that it feels pretty obvious, but it also is kind of risky into this comp. If you get caught by anything, if you're trying to make that flank and then Pantheon just stuns you, you're so squishy into a comp that will blow you up, but that you know, requires a lot of things to go your way. And you can't even see the Rakan engage because the Nocturne ultimate is coming out, makes it a little bit more difficult to play around that Rakan flank, depending on how Peter plays it. I feel like KT's comp has a very clear theme, and Nongshim's comp kind of feels like, especially with the Kennen and Annie, feels like they got what was left over that they feel pretty confident in these matchups with, but doesn't have strong synergy with the Pantheon necessarily. I was expecting, like, for example, that Jax I mentioned, because if you can win that lane, you can play through the Jax gets big, you push the side lane, the Pantheon follows that, becomes difficult to punish. It's so hard to try to index into side lane, though, when there's a Nocturne on the other side that can match you so well. And we do have both of these junglers having that global presence for sides here. I think what instead they went for was supreme team fight power in CC. They've got the Kennen ultimate, they have the Annie. It's all going to be very difficult to play out, though. When you fall behind, you lose vision, and Nocturne can just turn the lights off, and you can't see where exactly it is you need to hone in on. And when the Xayah, your prime target, can just press R. As Perfect is looking for one more.
Yep, just needs to get that finger down. We'll see whether Perfect can find it as they're knocking on the door. Only need one more here against Nongshim Red Force. This time, I'd agree with you. I think that, like, I kind of like what Nongshim have put together. It's very short range. They're playing into a Xayah that can be a problem, but that's a lot of pressure on Doctarm to perform in this game. I don't think it's a draft problem for KT moving into game number 3. It's going to have to be a full switch up from Nongshim mentally to get back into this series. All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, and we're already fighting. Lehens goes up, goes down, and then goes down truly. And there's first blood going over to BDD. We needed the mental reset. We're going to need another one. All right, there is the knock-up onto Jiwoo. And, okay, Perfect goes home.
In terms of gold, a win for KT, but let's see if Kingen...
Oh, my God. He was already starting the back. Like, Perfect, can you try being afraid of a something?
KT will lose a lot of health bars here. We'll have to reset the reset timer, a little bit worse for them, but see how this did start off here as Lehens goes for an aggressive level 1. Looking for the cocoon on Cuz, gets the electrocute proc, but BD starts Charm, and yeah, there's just not enough Nongshim here. Unfortunately, Kingen at level 1 is not going to be able to impact this play.
They didn't expect the rest of KT to be over the wall.
Yeah, it just not any information, still committing to it. And this is the coin flip you often get with this Elise pick, especially when Lehens is playing it.
헬릭스 잡았고 나이스.
Yep, calling out to go for Elise, got him. Nice.
He's having a bit of a giggle.
He's like, leave.
Yeah.
Please, get out.
Please get the heck out. Lands the charm to stop Jiu from getting a few extra autos in. Press the attack can be pretty dangerous, so Cocoon going to be connecting once more here towards the bottom side as another repel going to get forced out, but Doctarm and Peter not necessarily going to be super powerful in this lane to start things off, especially up against this Elise that does have so much early power. Maybe not with just Cocoon Repel, but...
I don't think this is a loss here for Nongshim that's going to make you feel like this game is doomed, for sure. You know, it's a big lead for BDD, but they still have that strong lane in the bottom lane. Obviously, the range advantage here for Kennen in the top side. And the game won't really change that much from the extra gold that BDD picked up, to be honest. As you can see here, the Annie is still even pushing this lane in. Not going to impact things right now, but really nice defensive play there from KT, and Nongshim kind of overextending, looking for that play, just not having the vision they needed. And I think it speaks to the desperation of being down 0-2 against this insanely powered up KT. And I think when it comes to the draft here, for Nongshim, it's just about the mid-game. You have to get through the mid-game without making big mistakes. Otherwise, you are going to have a really tough time. If the Nocturne comp has vision, has map control, it becomes so much more difficult to play out here.
Some zooms coming in here as both mid laners are getting low. One thing fun to talk about is the fact that it's lethal tempo cannon. This has been Kingan's favorite, is the on-hit AD cannon in his top matchups, whereas Zeus would definitely be going more of the AP route.
He has gone AD though, Zeus.
Yeah, he's done a bit of it in the past. It's just that this season, we've seen both of these, the different variants.
He is going to get dove here. It looks like Gideon's got the full stacks for that extra stun.
Yep, only level 3 here for Perfect as well. As PDD is solo killed underneath his turret. That's kind of insane. The flash forward from Perfect, he's trying to go for it here, and he finds the 2v1! It is still going to be followed up, but that is a brilliant outcome here for the KT top laner after it all went wrong in mid.
Yeah, mid lane, kind of a disaster there for BDD. As we'll see how that eventuated in its entirety in the replay. But this is really a great start here for Nongshim after what was a blunder at level 1. Ending up getting 2 kills here for the 1. Good trade back from Perfect, best possible case scenario, but he is still struggling into this AD cannon and is significantly down in CS as BDD gets stunned.
Oh, and the Orb Deception does go wide. He just overstepped.
Yeah, it's just a Electrocute flash auto. Good read there by Calyx, knowing the exact timing of the Electrocute proc.
Yep.
And then Perfect here, going for the stun afterwards was actually quite brilliant. Does, of course, have his flash available, so he can flash for this stun here. The extra turret shot goes through. He has the damage. Will still, of course, go down to the cannon. But without that play, he ends up just dying for free. Yep. Will lose his flash, of course, and still not going to be in a great spot in this lane. Picked up a no magic mantle. Is actually just getting the hell out of that lane. In fact, he's just going to go lane into Ezreal instead.
Looks to be the angle. I think understanding the Merc Treads are going to be incredibly powerful, even if it is an AD cannon that he's going to be facing. Largely going to be physical damage that he's going to need to worry about, but you do just need to mitigate the stuns that are coming from everywhere in that 2v2.
Yeah, this Renekton is not going to be in this game anytime soon, though. So that's a big issue here for KT. A lot of their mid-game power.
Well, there's the flash cocoon. It's come through from Mahens. A little bit of a split as far as the targets, but Peter is still taking so much damage. Does make his way out of there as Cuz will turn up to look to defend. And BDD fighting back here in this mid lane, really wanting to make up for some lost ground. And this start is so much better for Nongshim.
It's their best start of the series so far for sure.
And we know now that it's Wadid's fault.
Yeah, Laura's not going to be happy about that one.
Yeah, she was already disappointed, and now it's just kind of over.
Well, a lot of focus here on this top side, knowing the Renekton is basically a potato at this point in time. Calling him a handbag would be giving too much credit, I think, at this point.
Yeah, handbags can do a lot of damage. Like, you know, like the handbags with the bricks in them that the grandmas carry around sometimes, just to fend off from the bad guys.
Yeah, no, it's, you know, you put anything in there,
yeah, it can be dangerous.
With it.
This is a handbag with a pillow in it.
Yeah, potato, unfortunately, just goes with a lot of dishes, but isn't really going to hurt you. I mean, now if he was a hot potato, I feel like we can't even give him that, though, to be honest.
I mean, it depends. Like, a potato can be dangerous. Like, you've seen some of these potato cannons. They can get pretty dangerous.
Yeah, I just don't know if he's got a gun.
Maybe it's not even a potato. Maybe it's something else.
Kingan 6.
Yeah, Kingan's going to go in. Does get the stun down onto Doctarm. The flash over as Doctarm's going to have to flash, get himself out of the way. Doesn't have the Blade Caller just yet, but they don't have the damage to take down the Xayah.
That was really clean on both sides. Doctarm gauging that really well, weaving in those auto damage just to make sure they can't follow-up dive him with the damage he did there and then get away. But the follow flash there from Kingan was actually beautifully played. Get over the knock-up attempt there from Peter. That's perfect, yeah.
Arcane Shift.
Yeah.
That works.
And this Renekton is very far behind in farm, and the Ezreal is just chilling. So feels very good about this lane. And this allows Lehens to have a lot more power elsewhere on the map with this lane assignment with the Elise, which is exactly where he wants to be. See it back to come through, though, as we're swapping the Ezreal back topside. And level 6 isn't ready just yet for Gideon. A little bit of advantage for Cuz. I don't know if we'll really be able to utilize it right now, though. It's not really much to engage onto. They're going to try to take this dragon first, and with the prio they actually got bottom side with that Ezreal swap back to top lane. Nongshim are just going to lose this one for free. Yeah, no contest. I mean, they're kind of in the area, but does not have enough oomph to stop this one.
Well, Perfect is going for a wraparound here, and they turn the lights off. They're going for the cannon, the flash forward to guarantee the fear as in comes Gideon, but Perfect is just playing defense while Kingen is getting taken down lower and lower. Still, he does manage to make it out, and there's no flash on Perfect. He doesn't have the dice, didn't get that one activated, and the cocoon placement is so good. Lan's able to help take him down.
BD gets a plate in mid lane, but I think Nongshim are very happy with the kill they grabbed over. We'll continue to have a pretty significant gold lead here, and we'll keep the Renekton out of the lane, keeping him unable to farm. BD actually might greed for a second.
2 plates is a lot.
Yeah.
Actually, as the Charm is going to connect. Molten Shield not really helping Calyx out too much here, and there is the plate money.
Yeah, big money for BDD in this one. You can see Duckdama level down here, as he will get level 6 off this minion. Is not feeling great, though, about how his lane is going. BDD lurking. I think this is a bit dangerous because there is a ward.
There's so much vision for Nongshim, actually. Let's check this one out once again.
I really like this call from KT. They're so incredibly confident. Cuz goes for the flash to guarantee the fear goes through here. The problem is Pantheon could be here at a moment's notice because he hits level 6 off, I believe, the red buff just moments before. If he doesn't have ult and the timing of this is just a little bit faster, I think this works incredibly well for KT. They still got the dragon, but they bit off a little bit more than they could chew there. Great response there from Gideon and Nongshim. Kingen played it well on top of it all, but really cool play there to see them collapse using the Renekton, using the Cuz flash there to guarantee the fear on the cannon, try to prevent him from getting value in that fight.
Didn't have quite enough damage with Perfect not being there, so a little bit unfortunate, but of course, KT a little bit further behind this time around. Gonna have to play some honest League of Legends here in game number 3. And I'm glad, because I feel like we're finally casting a game.
Yeah, no, this is actually a real game.
Instead of just Stompsville that we've been living in for the last couple of them.
And I want to see what happens when KT doesn't have a lead. How do they respond?
Yep, Sly's going to come on through there as he at least has his Merc Treads done. Now with the Dominus and the teleport coming in, Perfect looking to stand his ground. Will get stunned up as the flash forward to try and lock down Lahens, and he just explodes.
Reset.
Yeah, now BDD with that reset angle, but not going to be able to get in there. And look, Cuz actually holds the paranoia, doesn't dive on top of the cannon, will just let him get underneath the turret. And they understand that Nongshim need to be respected in this game, especially this cannon.
Yeah, I think that was a wise call to back away. And, there's not much use for that Nocturne ultimate for the next few minutes, so it won't necessarily feel bad that they end up losing that one without actually committing to it. See how aggressive BDD wants to be here. He may be caught.
Yeah, doesn't have Spirit Rush. Charm is going to connect really nice from BDD there, and Orbit Deception is doing a lot of damage. It's just a lost chapter.
Uh-oh, Calyx getting baited.
Yeah, there's the grand entrance, and Perfect just walks over and holds him in place. Still, Calyx not going to be dying just yet. Throws a bear down, because sometimes you just want to do that.
Yep.
Throw a canyon into the lane.
BDD is just chilling here.
Yeah, Lahens is in a little bit of trouble. There's 3 people, so Lahens shouldn't be in trouble, but it looked like he was.
Now, I guess, technically speaking, if Cuz had his paranoia when they looked for that catch on the Calyx and he had it, he would have looked for the kill there, and feels bad he didn't have it. But, I mean, they're just getting more on the bottom side.
Wait.
Perfect.
There's a crocodile. Okay. We saw the drop bear before. What about the drop crocodile?
Perfect is just resigned to, I don't kill minions, I try to help my team kill champions. He's just like, I'm not actually in this game, really. I'm not really in a lane. I'll catch which minions I can, the ones I can find. I'm just going to chill in mid for a second. Tries to get a bear. Sadly, will not. For his sake, for Calyx is very happy he does not get that bear. But he's just going to chill here, grab these minions, and look for another play there on the Lahens. Now, maybe in trouble.
Yeah.
But not really.
Perfect did manage to last hit the minions with the slice, so has that dice available. And Doctom is still up here towards his top side, still about, north of 10 CS behind. Not quite 20 against you as Peter moving over. To get this ward.
What gives you hope for a Nongshim is the fact that they've been able to draft something that works really well from ahead and then got a pretty significant lead, right? And the coordination has been good. If you're a KT fan, you're pretty happy, I think, with how aggressively KT have been able to find some ins in this game despite it, but they're just not yet enough. As you can see here, Perfect is still, like, as I said, he resigned himself to not laning. He does kind of still have to get the minis. He doesn't have a support item, So Lahens is also just lurking to look to cocoon him, and you know what? Kingen has flash and ult, and Perfect may die, even though BDD is waiting.
Yeah. Lahens does find that cocoon as there is the Dominus to keep Perfect
God.
alive, and it was all a bait And look at all of the health with that Culver Meek. That was kind of massive, but Gideon comes down. PDD now running for the hills as Cuz finally gets in. Didn't actually press the button. I think he was out of range to actually join the fight. So KT not really finding the angle. They're outside of getting the 1-for-1 and killing the more valuable top laner.
Yeah, arguably a trade up here, as that's not going to affect anything, but Len's very greedy with this. If that charm hits, I think this is definitely a kill to go over to KT Rolls. So this is going to be Nongshim taking this second Dragon of the game into our inevitable 6th Chemtech Soul in a row that we will have here in our road to MSI. But
the flash! PDD, he did kind of connect the charm. That was
it's
kind of
Ocean!
weird. And, okay, well, we're not going to get 6 in a row, which would be kind of cool. We'll just get the next worst dragon instead. You're not off the hook, Ox.
All right, this is starting to be too much here, though. I mean, Nongshim can really do no wrong here. Nice spell shield.
Yeah, Fear is going to be put together as the flashes are traded as Gideon goes in. Out goes Peter after the battle dance. Actually pretty cutely played as Doctorm gets behind the minions. That's going to keep it alive against you.
That's the turret, I think, for Nongshim. They are completely denying KT from getting anywhere near it. So much farm is being lost as Renekton falling further and further behind. Perfect, trying for something.
Yeah, we're going to dive on top here as he's going lower and lower. The Cocoon going to go wide this time as PDD getting a lot of value out of that true damage. They just want to get towards the turret. Oh, the Blade Caller comes through and Doctorm! He gets the 1v1 against Jude. That was sick flashes everywhere. And the Spiderling's going to tank up the charm. Another Paranoia comes in as Peter gets the quickness and he stays alive. Cuz gets into the back line and now he's looking to rend them down. Calyx comes in. He's got a bear in tow and he's looking scary, but oh, the instant interrupt. That Crocodile was ready to go ballistic, but they had the Slicing Maelstrom, and Nongshim this time have some answers.
I mean, it's always 1 step forward, but 2 steps back here. The fact that KT's getting these steps, though, is huge!
Oh my god, okay, BDD.
BDD, what the hell?
This game needs to calm down!
Peter's play in that last play. You can't make that play unless you have insane aura, insane confidence. You don't care about your own life. You don't care about anything but the team. The fact that Perfect is this far behind and still making these trades happen. I mean, it's still 1,000 gold to lead here for Nongshim, but the gold has shrunk. Still so much power in that bottom lane, and KT find their way into some of these defensive fights. Ducktom getting the solo defensive kill topside feels massive because now he's got a gold lead. BD is popping off. I mean, some of the things I am watching with my eyes here, what Peter does in this moment.
Like, how does he live?
It's so insane. He gets back and nobody can touch him. No auto from Calyx there on top of him because the Paranoia is down, so it's really hard to react. That's what I was talking about. When the Paranoia goes down, it's really hard to actually play around this
Slicing Maelstrom just came off. Just came off.
He wants to have that Q. He wants to Q them. He wants to look for a double there. But he is shut down. Watch Ducktom also be a god over here. KT is playing this game on hard mode, but making it look playable.
I mean, it's still in a really rough spot, right? Like, there's
100%
not long for the world on the bottom side of the map, but let's have a look at this from Doctom's perspective. Getting the feathers in position.
And live.
Oh, and we've got more fighting as KT in a great position here. 2 just explode, and the charm is going to connect. BDD is now looking to get these resets and get out. Oh, the Orb of Deception he prepared earlier is gorgeously placed. True Shot Barrage is going to soften them up, and BDD has another charge available. Gio needs to be careful as Peter looking for an angle. Tanks up the turret momentarily. They're going to take this one down, and BDD is going to look for the charm. Was actually expecting Gio to try and escape, and instead, Gio just kills him. And now Perfect is trying to slice his way out of the way of the bear, and the Annie doesn't have the mobility to chase after him. They take down the mid-outer turret, and KT move towards a gold lead for the first time in this game.
KT got an extra charge there on the inner. BDD, you can't blame him for predicting the shift there. I think it was a wise little charm angle, but anyways, still, Gio outplays him there, is really patient, takes him out, so that's a kill over to Nongshim, but we need to really see what happened here because we came into this so late, and it's just 3 here for Nongshim. Gio isn't there, the Paranoia goes down, and Peter once again, when the lights are off, man, he gets in there, and BDD is just able to chase, gets the reset. Then looks for this play on the Gio. I don't know if we'll watch it, but...
Oh yeah, there we are. We skipped.
So predicting the shift there and predicting the movement, really, I don't know if that's... The angle he took actually, I think, was a bit short for a shift to predict. But either way, predicting, doesn't get the kill, ends up dying himself. But now, there's leads everywhere except the top lane. Kingen is now the only person in this game who for Nongshim, has a significant lead, and against BDD here, won't have the same side pressure he had into the Renekton as Gideon's coming up for a play, but KT are matching.
Yeah, they're going to get here, and the Paranoia is going to start this one off. The Slicing Maelstrom goes down, but he's taking the turret, and he just gets wiped out. Gideon puts up the shield as Calix, he can't get in, and they've singled out the jungler. BDD gets it. Another reset to come in here as he dives after Lahens. Those pesky spiderlings gonna soak yet another charm, and they do make their way out, but 2 already dead, and Nongshim are crumbling once again after a great early game here in game 3.
Perfect is just chilling in the bottom lane. They make the play topside there, where they have their strong point, where they have the cannon, but KT were ready for them. It feels like they've just read Nongshim like a book in all these scenarios across all 3 games, and yes, the Renekton is practically worthless in this game, but he's now starting to get farm. Now he's putting a dent in that gold lead that Kingen had because he's left alone here while KT win top side and get a free turret bottom side. Some farm here lost in the mid lane nearly, but it's a cannon wave. And I thought we had a series. I saw it on my hands, Atlas.
Yeah, it was kind of written, and now it's just rubbed off. You know, it's like you got a tattoo and unfortunately,
it was a henna!
It was a fake tattoo.
It was a henna, and henna's not even playing in the LCK anymore.
Yeah, it's really sad, actually. That being said, I'm glad he's still playing somewhere.
Yeah, no, I love henna, man.
Our bro boys need to make sure that they just keep playing forever, no matter what they're doing, because they're just the best vibes outside of Peter, who is the best vibes. BDD now potentially in trouble as Spirit Rush, one heck of a button. And he presses that, and now he's going to look to try and turn it here onto Gideon. Takes a bit of true damage there from the Orb of Deception as well, as Dr. Arm looking to chase after them.
Cuz just ults on Dragon to make it so they can't actually follow up on BDD. Yeah, what a pro!
Well, and also Nongshim were obviously preparing for an engage. Speaking of engage, Peter finds the angle, gets the double charm. Gideon flashes away. And yeah, this Peter guy is a bit of a surgeon on the Rakan today, as Perfect goes in. Kingen still very strong though, as we mentioned before, the teleport going to come down. Strikebreaker going to help hold the cannon in position. Flashes traded, and the slice gets him out.
I mean, it's not AP cannon, so you can trade ults like this and actually feel pretty good about it, because the ultimate for Nongshim's team fighting is actually pretty important, and they got the teleport out of Calix for this. So, feels like a big win for Perfect here. He doesn't actually end up living, has to flash away, but it's a trade of flashes as well. And I mean, just the confidence on KT. Like, Peter's having his delight arc almost, it feels like I'm watching right now.
No, it's actually kind of ridiculous. Having a look here, and the paranoia and the fact that the Nocturne is just like, doesn't even really need to be there, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
The play afterwards, in fact, he pressed the button and then didn't actually show up.
Yeah, no, he wasn't even anywhere near. And then, so after that, Perfect gets the turret bottom side. Lahens, are you hiding for them, or are they hiding for you?
Oh dear. Well, the spider's going to go up and then comes down again. And now the paranoia comes out yet again. Gideon trying to find a target here, but they've already lost one. And look at these health bars melt. Carl's looking to try and get out of there. Gideon's baited forward because he just wants anything, and he will be denied. Perfect will get taken down as Gio able to find yet another missing shot. What was that arcane shift? That was insanity. The charm hits, and he is cut down where he stands. The ace comes in as Dr. locks up a triple. He's 5-0-4, undying in this game as this Xayah, and they'll take an Otacon, and then whatever the heck else they
I guess the summer of KT came a little bit early this season, Atlas, because we don't have summer season anymore, but we're still at the halfway point. We haven't started rounds 3 yet. They made it to the Legend group, but this team is on fire. I thought for sure with the leads that Nongshim had early, I thought for sure with Perfect's deficit, that at worst case scenario, if KT had the miracle comeback, at least it wasn't going to be a one-sided game. But in fact, it looks like we might just have 3 one-sided 3-0 here for KT. Because look at this fight here. It's a desperate start on the Otacon as Lahens is getting caught here, trying to catch anyone who follows up, trying to come in to stop the Otacon take, and KT just come in here and dismantle them. BDD gets Reset City, and unfortunately for Jiwo here, yes, he gets a kill back, but he won't be able to stop the inevitable. Tries for it.
That arcane shift was absolutely insane.
Yeah,
I mean, I think he was probably dead regardless. I think BDD had a charge or 2 left, but still.
That's the desperation I was talking about earlier. You could feel it in Nongshim's play.
All right, Calix going to be rotating over, and BDD comes in. The paranoia goes down as well as he gets over the wall, does BDD. And Strikebreaker's in for Cuz. They'll find the charm onto everyone because Peter's able to lock them all down. He won't be able to escape this time, and Gio does create some distance. Featherstorm used mainly defensively, but Perfect gets in there. Calix goes down. Gio now trying to kite as best he can, and Kingen not going to be doing anything here. Lehens finally shows up, gets a cocoon onto BDD, who gets over and looks for Jiu. Jiu gets the shutdown, and now Perfect is just going to cut him down. And so it was almost a bit of an angle for Nongshim, but then they find everyone dead, and KT will be able to lock the rest up. Toktam just got out of the fight at the very end as well, and is now pushing the lane.
I mean, to try to put this into narrative, right, where we started this day off today with being like, all right, well, KT are on this insane tear. Momentum could not be higher, right? Which makes you worried if you're a KT fan. And Nongshim fighting to earn their spot in fourth, look for a revenge opportunity against T1, look to make an opportunity at MSI, just get stopped by this brick wall that is KT, the steamroller that is KT in this third game. We like the draft, we like the angles. They got a huge lead in the top lane, and KT just outplay them in team fights. KT, with this roster that was built halfway through the season, solidified halfway through the season, where Perfect was being subbed out for casting. We had Paddock play in here.
Yeah.
We had Wei at the very beginning of the year. And it all's just coming together at the best possible time. As a former KT player, Lehens here is getting absolutely obliterated by Peter. The support gap feels pretty huge here, and that's not something I thought I was really going to be saying coming into this series. We know that Peter's been in pretty good form recently, but BDD unstoppable.
BDD has just been ridiculous.
And I feel like I have to, if they close this game out, which by the way, with a 6,000 goldie, 22 kills to 10, I would expect them to do. I think I still have to give palm to BDD, even though Peter's had an amazing game 3 here. He had a great Alistair game earlier.
I think Doktam's also had one of the best series of his career as well.
Yeah, how can you beat this team when they play this well? Like, they're playing perfectly.
Yep. Speaking of perfect, he's going to dive in on top of Gideon, and I don't think Gideon's going to be going anywhere. Finally, the Nocturne shows up as Jiu puts the Arcane Shift on cooldown. He does get feared, Cuz taking some damage, but he just walks his way out. The footwork here from Jiu is actually working, but unfortunately he does not have a team anywhere else on the map. And now they're going to close in on him. The flash forward from Perfect and does get the stun. They get the knock up, and there is another ace for KT. This time it's clean, and this time I think it's just stamped themselves a ticket to Busan.
Yeah, they're going to have to wait for this wave, which will buy some time here, but it's going to be Pantheon and Elise that come up first here, and this team of KT Rollster is just so fed. They just don't care. They're looking to go in, take this inhibitor out, and fish for a pick. Lehens, what can you do alone? 4 levels down on Peter in this game. 6 deaths on the Elise.
Oh, it's
clear the wave.
ridiculous. They are just going to try and clear the wave as best they can. This one last minion is going to be coming through, but now Lehens doing some funny business. You walking out
TP
through the
flank.
base gates. Okay. The health bars are somewhat low. And let's see whether Nongshim can find the angle. The flash Tibbers is going to have to be insane, but he doesn't even have flash. Gideon comes in with the Grand Starfall. And there is the paranoia turn. Nongshim had to go for something, but I don't know whether this is going to work as they take down the Pantheon immediately, and BDD is looking for another charm. Onto Lehens, back over the wall. They find another one, of course. Peter goes in there to throw himself away. The Tibbers comes on down. It's doing a fair bit of damage as now Cuz able to get the spell shield, and Doktam has singled out Jiu and will be able to pull back the feathers, but Jiu does get himself out of the way. Not quite enough there as Jiu will survive, and now looking for some Mystic shots towards Perfect. He has about 1.5 health.
Yeah, Doktam's red buff wasn't quite enough to kill him, but I don't think he can be relevant in this fight anymore as King in.
Oh dear, gets the control ward in. And so Perfect is going to just walk away.
I mean, the Hull Breaker cannon really isn't in a side lane Hull breaking right now. Unfortunately, just doesn't have the damage to look for anything there onto Perfect. That's going to be sole point here for KT.
There's a barrage, picks the gap. It's nice, 6 points.
Now, the only thing more miraculous than KT's big comeback in this game, I feel like, would be Nongshim coming back from here.
There we go.
9,000 gold behind. They survive. They keep the base alive. They stop they get the teleport flank. They don't get the kills, but they stop the push. They save themselves. They don't stop the dragon. They don't have Baron vision, but hanging on by a thread of a thread that KT have a knife very firmly pressed against right now. I mean, to see a comeback here would be absolutely insane.
We've got multiple people in the bottom lane with a Baron alive. I've read in the textbook that is generally not a good thing. As BDD, he senses that there's someone here, and Gideon he just wanted to do some alcove gaming. In goes Cuz. They are going to kill the Pantheon, who does dive on top of BDD, but
he didn't have
just
ult.
Gonna die.
just 10 seconds away. I think his game plan was to hide and try to ult for the steal, and then look for the 3-man to push for an inhib. Like that was the plan.
You get the steal. The rest of them are on the bottom side of the map, taking an inner.
Exactly, but now it's just going to be defensive Baron minions that help defend this push. They do get the bounty on this inner, but that's all they're going to get. Geo looks for it.
Yep, True Shot Barrage is just going to help them. And so Cuz and Doctom will be able to take this one down. Level 16 for Cuz as well, my god.
I can't fault Gideon for that.
No, you can't.
The best angle, like if they push 3, they get the steal, they get the inhib, then maybe they buy themselves some time in this game, but it just doesn't work. They get caught, they get called out. They were looking for him. They're like, where is he? I don't see where he is on the map. 3 people pushing. I don't think he's down there. We're doing Baron. He's got to be looking for the steal. KT just will not be caught off guard by any of Nongshim's plans or shenanigans.
Yeah, it's the fact that they went to check, right? It's the good play. It's not necessarily like Gideon making the wrong move, right? Because it's about desperation at this point. They are so far behind. It is 8,000 gold, and KT are just cruising their way towards the 3-0.
They're just like, no miracles allowed, you know? I'm just not going to let anything go wrong.
This is unprecedented amounts of good play from KT
it's
in
crazy.
one period of time.
It reminds me of 2023, where they were the first seed.
Yep. And so they are going to be heading, most likely, to Busan. We'll see if it's on the back of Peter's play here as, yeah, the Elise goes up and does get taken out once again. Perfect, going to be able to lock that one up, but it is just a kill on the Elise for now. There might be another fight in Nongshim. 25 seconds until Lehens is back up yet again. 1 and 8 though on the Elise. BDD just putting together his forbidden book. And yep, in they go once again. BDD turns back up again with that new thing bought from the library. And Tibbers is going to go down as an afterthought. Gideon also falling. And Kingin, yeah, he built a rage plate, but that's mainly because of his feelings, ladies and gentlemen. Nexus turret number 2 going to be taken out, and KT back-to-back clean sweeps to bring them to a telecom war in Busan.
6-0. And I didn't think it could get more one-sided than what happened yesterday. They had no rest time practically. I mean, had to go home, prep as quickly as they can for the Nongshim series. Nongshim got to watch all of yesterday, all of the game plans from KT, and still couldn't make a dent in this team. As KT Rolster just looked invincible in this series, in this third game where it looked like Nongshim had such a big, huge lead. The game wasn't over. It wasn't like, okay, it's set in stone. Well, the fact that Perfect was that far down, and that's what I wanted to see. He's looking for that T1 finger.
Yep.
Oh man, I
honestly, like, I'm going to be asked in the coming week, like, what's your prediction for T1 versus KT? And I'm starting to not really understand what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah, I was thinking about it after game 1. I was like, what if they have 2 more games like this? It's got all the Digimon.
That's why we see so many Digimon in the audience when BDD is playing. And I'm glad that we've got you here who actually understands a bit of it as Doctom. Phenomenal series today, honestly, no notes.
I think KT really, the identity for me in these 6 games is they will punish you. You think you have a lead, you think you have that bottom side push, you think you have that anchor on the map, and Cuz and BDD say no. Cuz ults in, Perfect willing to drop so many waves, so much farm to try to look to just be a CC button, just to be a warm body in the team fight so BDD can come in and hit those charms, so Peter can come and hit those charms. If you trust that your support's going to get it done, that your mid laner's going to get it done in that Hail Mary defense of the bottom lane, and they just do everything right perfectly, then you can make those plays, and it only works if you trust that your team is going to get it done. And there's just this insane momentum that KT have right there. There's no nerves. It's only clutch, which is so insane to see. Is Agumons galore here.
Yep. Oh, can we actually take the finger down? Can we do that?
She did it with her hand.
Hey, she's done it.
T1 left, and then maybe Genji or Hanwha. I mean, it starts to feel like it's not just a pipe dream that KT Rolster could be an MSI representative. I'm not trying to call it early, but when you watch how they play here,
I mean, if they play like this again, the best part about it is, result or no result, it just makes Busan so incredibly hype. Every matchup is feeling incredibly intense. Humble Life Esports versus Genji. Genji undefeated in the regular season, but this is best of 5s now. And the Telecom War, it sometimes disappoints, but not often, especially not when the stakes are high like they are right now.
When you watch this fight here, this is the kind of fight I'm talking about where you really have to have, and again, they don't win this, but you have to have such insane trust.
Oh yeah.
And you can't shot call that. Everybody just has to know, Atlas, and you know this. Like, That's what makes a great team, a great 5-man unit, is we don't have to explain the moments. They just come naturally. And you watch these plays from KT and you're like, wow, they can punish anyone. They can win in almost any game state. That's horrifying. That means they could win against Gen G, against a massive Gen G lead if they play like this. They almost beat Gen G in regular season. They were super close.
And I feel like they have definitely leveled up to another level. We haven't seen Gen G for quite some time, so we don't know how they are faring, but I imagine things are feeling pretty good in their camp at the same time. The competition gets much more difficult for KT
regardless,
and for the rest of the LCK on their road to MSI now.
Regardless of whether you predict them against T1 or not, regardless of whether you think they could beat either Hanwha or Gen G, it's way more interesting than it was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because like we had the clear top 3 scenario, and we were wondering, what the other team was going to come in, and it was going to be Goofy and and then they'll lose on Saturday. But that is not what I'm expecting here anymore, because this run from KT has been absolutely insane. And we know that teams play off momentum so effectively in these gauntlet runs, and I don't think very much could bring KT down now.
They're just climbing the ladder. They were in 6th, unless that perfect tiebreaker scenario happens. They win that, they get Legend. Then they climb the ladder over D+ more directly, more cleanly. Yesterday, 3-0 them. They look at Nongshim as just one more rung, and it's the perfect finger meme kind of thing going on where it feels like they could just climb over T1 as well in Busan if they play like this. And I think for T1, you were probably going into Busan thinking, I've got to really be honing in on Gen G Hanwha. I'm really looking forward to that series. I want to see who gets that first seed, look at what the abuse was of the weaknesses of the team that loses, and focus on that, because the Nongshim/KT/D+ series felt like it was going to be a shoo-in. But now, you're starting to feel a little bit nervous about coming up against this guy, because BDD's form right now versus Faker, he is looking like by far the better mid laner right now. We'll see what Faker's form is in Busan, but this is a scary player to face right now.
And so now, because like what I need to see is BDD versus Chovy, especially after Cloud Templar's comment yesterday, where he said that this was like one of the greatest mid lane performances of all time. Well, I mean, we could remind him of Chovy decimating BDD in one of the most dominant mid lane performances of all time. And so maybe some revenge. Maybe we could see whether that has perhaps changed, but that will take a few things to happen. Hanwha would have to win, and then KT would have to win the telecom war to bring us to that final, as Linkus and Subject are going to be actually on the space, hanging out, giving their opinions on the LCK and what they're going to be fighting for and they want to face, things like
there
this.
It's
going to be fun.
We also have a full team interview with KT Rolster as well, so it's going to be a lot of really cool content for you guys, because today was a little bit on the shorter side again here.
Yeah.
KT are just speed running this road to MSI.
Yeah, we might actually have the longest episode of the POG State prepared for you as well, because we've got loads of extra time now and we're going to be recording it afterwards. So yeah, I think it's, it's kind of okay that it was a quick day, but a little bit sad for the Nongshim fans because that wasn't the greatest. But I believe we are heading towards the interview very, very soon. Just going to have to wait for all of the KT players to get in line and get in order so that we can have a chat about this run. They've now got 4 days as well to prepare for their next match. 5 days, I guess, technically, if you take away the
4 days
day.
until the travel day, yeah.
Yep. So I'm looking forward to seeing what KT are actually going to say, because I imagine that they are going to be confident, but these first 2 matches are not going to be the same as what they're going to be experiencing in Busan, I don't think.
I'm just excited to have a new player in our top of the LCK. Like, we have this whole new team that we don't know what the ceiling is, because I thought I saw it yesterday, and I was like, I'm not excited. I mean, D+ made some errors. Similar story here with Nongshim, but I don't know, man. I saw that 3rd game, and that's what makes you a little bit interested in what this team will do in Busan.
Exactly, and so we're not getting E-word. It's absolutely fine, and it's time for us to now throw it over to the interview with KT.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Seer for the team interview translation, joined by Perfect, Cuz, BDD, Dokdam, and Peter on the side of KT Rolster, who will head over to Busan after that 3-0 victory. Congratulations! Thank you. Wow, what a meaningful victory today. Perfect. Congratulations on moving up to round 4. You had such a brilliant performance. How do you feel?
많이 저질러놓은 게 있는 것 같아서 보성이 형한테 그거를 좀 치우려고
You
열심히
know,
하려고 했던 생각으로
I
준비했습니다.
think because there was a lot that I had pent up against BDD, I really wanted to clean up and do well today. And BDD, what do you think? You know, yesterday I didn't think he had a lot of problems or mistakes, to be honest. Score predicted that Top will be the key player today, and you had so much impact Top. And even your team said, wow, your form is great. What a monster. So what are your thoughts on your own play today?
점에 이제 8에서 9점인 것 같습니다.
Out of score of 10, I would say maybe 8 to 9. Perfect. You will be Busan bound. And for a chance at your first international stage, what mindset will you have?
네, 이제 2023 그 이제 형들 그 롤드컵 때 부산에 따라가 본 적이 있는데 형들 뛰는 거
I've been to Busan when my youngs were going to the 2023 Worlds, and being with them gave me so much motivation, and I really wanted to make it and be here one day, so I'm looking forward to it. And your finger ceremony and meme are so good. It's so hilarious. We love it. And you know, we are getting a feeling that your fans want to see you reenact it again. Can you reenact it and tell T1 what's on your mind? Look at the camera. Go ahead. And what would you like to say to T1?
저 연습생 때 초반에 많은 걸 배워가지고 그때도
You know, I learned a lot from Doran.
걸어오고 싶다라는 생각했는데
And on the big stage, I've always wanted to face him. So I want to go ahead and show everyone how I can crush him. And next up will be Kuz. After that win, you will head over to Busan. How do you feel?
기쁜 것 같고 또
Now it feels great to be able to win today, and it was only up until game 3. That means that, you know, being able to save our strategy is also quite great.
아, 네, 봤습니다.
Did you happen to see the expert predictions today? Yes, I did. You know, every single expert prediction said KT would win. Did you expect a 3-0?
어떤 팀이기 때문에 좀
You
예측
know, in
못하긴 했는데
Nongshim
아까 좀 승부
did pretty well in
예측할 때
rounds 1 and
보니까
2.
힘이 많이 나더라고요. 그리고 또 팬분들이 항상 응원 엄청 해주셔가지고
And I was a little worried,
마음으로 왔습니다.
but I think we had a really good feeling since we got that 3-0 yesterday, and all the support from our fans. Just looking at our fans gave me so much energy. And what predictions do you have in the match against T1? You know, against T1 we actually have a lot of losses.
무서울 것 같다고 느껴서 저희의
And I feel like T1 probably are pretty scared of our performance and our momentum right now. And would you like to say anything to your fans?
열심히 해보겠습니다. 응원 감사합니다.
No, we're going to try even better and harder in Busan. Thank you so much. And next up, we have BDD. You are the POM of today as well. We can really tell that you didn't want to lose. In this match against Nongshim and against Lihans, you have won it all. How do you feel? I'm just really glad that we're able to have a clean victory. And you know, I know Lihans probably came here, tried really hard, so it must feel pretty bad. You haven't dropped a single game since yesterday and today, and you're going strong with a 6-0 score. You're on an 8-game win streak, including that rematch, and it must be summer. How is KT so good? Now my teammates are doing really well, and our spirits are great. So that's why I feel like we're actually playing a lot better than before. And you must win the remaining 2 matches to go to MSI. So what will you focus on, and what mindset will you have? I believe the rest of the matches will be harder against the better teams, and I think we will have to focus hard on the drafts. Dakdam against the match against Nongshim. You have won it and advanced to round 4. How do you feel?
블루로 세 판을 졌는데 오늘
You know,
제대로 갚아준 것 같아요.
in the LCK Cup, we lost on blue side 3 times, and I think we got a really good revenge today. No, your game 2 was good, and game 3 had some intense back and forth. General Duck, with your solo kill, you completely turned the tide. So when were you sure that you would win? I think in the moment when I got the solo kill, I felt like, you know, whether we do well or not, I had a really good feeling that we would win at that moment. KT's form is peaking, and it's like there's no ceiling. You just keep going up. So how high will you end up? I think we'll keep going up until we are able to get our revenge against all the teams that we have lost against in round 2. Would you like to say anything to T1? Last time when we played in Suwon, I think we disappointed a lot of fans. So I want to get our payback from Suwon. And next we have Peter. You've been on point lately. You know, you must have wanted to show a lot today. So what mindset did you come with? I think it was because I was going up against my foreigner teammates. I was actually pretty nervous. I was pretty shaky when I came to stage today. In game 2, your Tom Kench and Senna made an appearance, and you had such a great showing. Tom Kench is actually undefeated over 4 games in the LCK regular season. What are some strengths of Tom Kench? I think in the laning phase, it's really good when you get to hit your Qs. And in team fights, I think we were able to actually pressure in the front line when I tell them that I have my ult. So we're actually able to go in fearlessly. How will you prepare for the next match? Well, for the next match, I always say this, but today's victory is only for today, and I think we really need to work even harder. And so right now I would say, since our team is doing so well and I have so much faith in my teammates and my Hyungs, I want to make sure that we all do well together. And what is your resolution into round 4? Our next stop is Busan. But our final destination, I would like to appoint it as Canada. And lastly, we will go back to the team captain, BDD. Would you like to say anything to your fans? I feel like I've disappointed a lot of fans on big stages especially, so we really want to try hard to create great memories and great moments for our fans to enjoy. I'm looking forward to your great showing in Busan, and that's the end of the interview with KT Roaster. And back to the space. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the space. It is a KT3-0. We're excited because they're going to Busan. They did it, everyone. The curses aren't real. Chronicler was right. We are very close together here.
Chronicler was not right, by the way.
He said curses aren't real.
Yeah, just, what it wasn't strong enough, I think.
Okay, all right. Well, we're all gathered here on this couch because on this couch, we got our pros from Vitality. Joining us is Linces and Shijak. Welcome, gentlemen. Shayek.
You're so bad at it. Hello.
Right, you know what? Go ahead. You go ahead. Say it one more time.
Chayek and Linces.
I'm sorry, Chayek.
It's okay. It's really hard to say, so it's okay.
Quickly, what did you think of that series? You guys got to watch it in there and also from here. What did you think?
I would say that was a statement from KT. I would say BDD completely 1v9'd all games.
Linces?
I think it was such a stomp. It was so fast.
Yeah, right.
I didn't feel like time was going.
The tough part is they only know the roller coaster that goes up. They don't know the roller coaster that goes down. Speaking of roller coaster going up, we had a couple of people, especially here and here, predicting the 3-0s. All right.
Where's Degon there?
I'm there.
3-2? Oh, at least you predicted KT.
Yeah, I got it right. I'm part of the 14-0.
Such a beta.
Sorry, zeros. Unlucky. All right, let's get to the POMs as it is yet again BDD getting it done. This time with help from friends, 8 of 13. What did you make of this?
I mean, if I wasn't going to go for BDD, I probably would have gone for Duck Dom. I think he was just really clean. You know, Perfect was good as well, so I think those were fine. BDD is inevitable. Class is permanent. You remember KT were like, what, 3-7 or 3-8 at some point? And then he's just like, you know what? I'm back. And he came back. The whole team came back. They started winning. And now they're just destroying everybody here at the road to MSI. So, I don't know. He's just... Class is permanent. His form was bad, but now he's really good. And I think they're just going to keep going.
Oh, roller coaster up believer.
Do I really need to explain? He's big. He's huge. He's tremendos. Big DD. That's all. We all know that BDD is so good, right?
He is.
Yeah, I agree. I think BDD both today and yesterday had insane series.
Yep, he definitely did. Let's take a look at what else we had from our broadcast team. Oh, we're actually going to ask your POM now. If you got to pick, who would it be? Is it just BDD or would you look somewhere else?
It's just BDD.
For me, it's BDD.
Game 1 Talia was insane, actually.
All right, and then new to this year, comments. So if you had to make a comment about BDD's performance, what would it be?
Outstanding.
Oh, outstanding.
One.
Yeah, that's
He
one.
said it like class is inevitable, you know. Like.
All right,
okay,
yeah. That's okay. That's okay.
That's okay.
Comment copying is part of the comment meta.
Part of the meta, yeah.
Yeah, here we go. Here's Wolf. If you trust him, he will get it done. Thank you very much, Wolf, for that one. Great job on the call today. Atlas, great job on the call today, too. Helios, I want to play with BDD. Also, I envy you, Mad Life.
It's every single time, like from the jungler, you want to play with better mid laner.
Yep. Yeah. Let's see who else. Prince coming in with Nongshim Ramyeon is all mine. #KT. For those of you that didn't know, that was Peter's IGN within the LCK or within the Korean server. That's what it is in Hangul. So Prince is a knower. And Cloud Templar with flawlessly completed the role of the final puzzle piece. Goat Dom as Duck Dom has definitely had a huge upturn here about this.
Yeah, definitely another example of form is temporary, right? Where he looked like maybe the last place AD carry in the LCK, which was hard to watch. You know, he got subbed out as well. Patak came in, and now he's just going like 10-0-10 up against you. He's really turned a new leaf.
All right, and so a huge 3-0 here, but we do have some pros from Vitality joining us. So kind of want to ask what your experience has been so far here in Korea. You both are here boot camping, doing solo and duo queue, right?
Yeah, I mean, actually we couldn't do a queue, which was kind of sad because of MMR or something.
Yeah, okay.
We won too much, so in Diamond 1 we got cut off, so that was sad.
Yeah, I think we managed to play like 8 duo queues before we were completely cut off from playing together. Yeah, I mean, solo queue is treating us not too well recently.
So here's the thing. So from my experience, there's not much of like difference between like EU-West and Korea. It's all about like support role only. So how do you feel the difference between EU-West and Korean solo queue?
Okay, I think like overall, people in Masters Plus, they are so much better mechanically. Like I can already tell the difference. Like in a low Master, like people are actually good. Like they are not bad laners, like at all.
So many like one-trick pony as well, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of like Diana players. I realized like no one is playing Diana in EU-West, and there's so many Dianas on the Korean server. Yeah.
So many good players. How about you?
I play against Echo Jungle. Every game is Echo Jungle. It's crazy.
Oh, actually, I played against Peanut. He was playing also Echo.
Oh, Peanut Echo.
Oh, this might be an inside scoop here on the space.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's pretty
everyone can see solo.
So have you guys tried too much or any like Korean food yet? Have you experienced much of Korea, or you just been grinding solo queue?
I mean, for most part we were grinding, but I mean, so far the thing I like the most was just Korean barbecue. It's so good.
So yeah, I agree. Like Korean barbecue was really good.
All right, so I've got to ask the big question here. With this victory, it does mean that KT will be playing T1, a telecom war in Busan for that 3rd, 4th place spot. Who you got here?
I mean, it's a tough question. I mean, I feel like if you start at the lower bracket, but you win in the lower bracket, like it's such a confidence boost. So I feel like KT will take it.
I would say it could be a close series. I would say 3-2 for KT.
Oh, we got KT believer.
I'm a big BDD believer.
All right. So like you guys are here at the LoL Park, like watching as a viewer. Unlucky that you guys are not in the playoffs in LEC, but like, how does it like motivate you as a pro player?
Come on, man. Why'd you say
What you mean by that?
Because it's kind of like new experience as a player.
Ah.
So like, I just want to ask you
Yes.
how it motivates you, because you are here to improve yourself, like here to prove yourself. Like, how do you feel? Like, how do you feel?
Quick little stray there, but I mean, for me, like, it was always like a dream to play on the big stage before like I made it to LEC. So now like coming here and watching someone like play while I'm not in the playoffs myself, like it's a big motivation. So I mean, I just hope to improve and go back in summer and grind and
Yeah, I agree.
play on the stage.
It's really like sad when you can see all the people play. They are grinding all the time. They are doing so well, and you're just there, not doing anything, kinda. So.
But you know what? As a co-streamer, I was actually big fan of Vitality because they are one of the like fundamental players. You know, like they are having like great mechanics. So I'm kind of like willing to see them like performing better in the next play. I'm actually like saying that like Vitality is gonna like pop off like next play.
Yeah,
Sure.
you know, I think there was a question that Linces had to ask you about maybe
do you mean?
next season. You know, maybe a potential opening on the team. You know, is
Oh
there?
yeah, Linces, what was the question? Like?
Wanna? You interested?
No, not anymore. No, I'm not. I'm just
Chance
too bad.
wanted.
I asked
Get in there.
Yanko, he gave me a recommendation of what.
All right. That's enough.
All right. Hey, y'all, thank you so much for joining us here on the Global Broadcast Desk. We have such a global team, so it is awesome to have you here. Best of luck in your training, and good luck in the next split over in the LEC.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you
us.
for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. All right, let's take a look at the results for today. Not much to see here. It was a 3-0 KT dominance over the higher-seeded Nongshim Red Force. All three games going the way of KT. Much easier as game 1 and 2. 3, they had to work for it, but they got the job done. And now the road to MSI is a bit shorter, but the road to Busan is complete. It is T1 versus KT in the third place match, and then Genji versus Hanwha will be doing battle first on Friday for that automatic #1 seed.
Yeah, you know, I think it's going to be a close series between KT and T1. I think the momentum that they have, KT, is really a lot. And T1, you know, they did look much better throughout the entire regular season, but this is a different beast. It's a gauntlet. This is why we love gauntlets. And I think KT have a legitimate chance to actually take them down. I think I'm going to lean towards KT for the prediction as well.
Oh! Didn't even ask you yet. All right.
Okay.
So remember, the next matchup that we have here is Genji versus Hanwha Life Esports. #1 versus #2. Again, the undefeated Genji looking to lock up that #1 seed. The loser of this match will play again on Sunday. Y'all, it has been a great road to MSI kickoff. We're not done yet. We'll see you next time in Busan. Until then, take care of yourself. See you later.
doesn't kill me, makes me stronger.